What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Teach Henley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Teach Henley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Teach Henley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Teach Henley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, friends and family? I appreciate you guys for holding me down. Yes. Yes. What's happening, y'all? How are y'all feeling today? It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2000. And Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, year of our Lord. What's happening, friends and family? I appreciate y'all. It was a great show last night. Shout out to everybody that tuned in for After Hours. Weather is changing. Five Brown says Anton is 27 minutes late. How? If the show was actually the show had made it, I had made a mistake and scheduled it for PM, and I didn't notice it until somebody in the chat. I had looked at the chat before I started the show, and it was scheduled for 10:10. It was supposed to be scheduled for 10:10 a.m. It was scheduled for 10:10 p.m. And then we usually wait till a certain amount of people get into the chat. At least 100 people get into the chat before we start the show, and then we go from there. So actually, I wasn't late at all. This is normal. This is normal. I always wait until it's about 100 people waiting. So I start the show as soon as 100 people get in there. So you're wrong. Come on. Y'all been in this thing for as long as y'all been in here. I set the timer, or I set the time that I wanted to start the show. As soon as I get a certain amount of people that's in queue, then we start the show and we rock out. See, look at you. K Cooper already talking about I missed the later time. K Cooper already talking about I missed the earlier time. You know what I'm saying? I know what it is. I know Chris Cunningham. They act like no, Fi Brown, you're wrong. Fi Brown, you're wrong. Fi Brown says 10 a.m. you told us you were doing. Okay, so let me educate you and put you back into the mix, Fi Brown. What I said was we were going to start pairing it back to allow for people to get used to the newer time, and we were going to eventually get to the point to where we were starting the show at 10 a.m. again. So we used to start the show, right? 10:45, 10:55, 11 o'clock or whatever. And I said, all right, we're going to start rolling it back. So then we started going back to 10:30. We went back to 10:20. We went back to 10:15. Now we're at 10:10. And the goal by the end of the week is to eventually get people used to, because you can't just throw something on somebody. We want to get them down to 10 o'clock. And then we wait until there's a certain amount of people that's in the show. and that's the time that we start the show. So we planned it for 10:10 today. We made a mistake and put it at PM. I seen some people saying, oh man, is it a later show or is it a mistake? So I switched it to AM, which then obviously threw people off because the alerts was going on. And so that's the adjustment. But see, I don't want to come in and explain every single time that something has made a mistake, or the PM to the AM or something like that. We just make the adjustment and we keep it moving. But the goal obviously is to, by Friday, right? So tomorrow it'll probably be 10:05, and then Friday it'll be 10 o'clock, and then Monday we'll move back into the ESPN room. And so we're slowly transitioning people back into the way that we're supposed to be doing things, and that is the goal. All right? That's the goal. But I don't want to have to publicly explain that. I don't know why I have to explain that. I talk about it all the time. All the time. We want to slowly roll people back to get to 10 a.m., but we don't want to just throw them off. We want to get them to there. We want to get them there. All right. For example, when I came into the chat this morning and I looked it up, all right. Jarius Phillips says, is the time wrong? Because it was on PM instead of AM. All right. I pay attention to what the people that send the chat. R. Hardy, I'm not even gonna play that game. You know what I'm saying? Why don't y'all just enjoy the show? So this is what we doing. We gonna get belligerent. Dog. Honestly, I think y'all need to switch to getting boxed in the AM instead of in the PM. All right. We need to start getting boxed in the AM instead of in the PM, because y'all highly strung up. Y'all tense this morning. We had a good show last night. We got the Relationship Wednesdays popping tonight. Everything is going swimmingly. Why y'all so tense? Y'all tense? You don't want to deal with my problems. I just spent $11,000 paying invoices this morning. Concrete here, concrete there. Come on, y'all. Y'all can't be this tense. We got to be easy. Speaking of which, is your car in the chat? Is your car in the chat? I need to figure something out. I got an email this morning. Your car not in the chat? I got an email this morning that I need to solve for. Shout out to, I don't want to say his name, but shout out to look at me, I was about to say their name. Shout out to the people over at Klarna, the media people over at Klarna. I want to give a shout out to the people in Klarna. Apparently, the people over at Klarna, holla at me. I'm gonna talk to y'all. I'm gonna email y'all back. I know you gave me the phone number, so we're gonna get there. But the people at Klarna was upset with Anton from AntonDaniels.com. And so they asked me to make some clarifications. All right. So before I get into that, before I talk about the people at Klarna reaching out to me, I want to say this. I want to ask the chat a question. All right. Chat. What up, Lit Studio? I'm going to read that in a second. I appreciate you. Chat. How does these Afterpay, not specifically Klarna, all right, how does these Afterpay services make money? Does anybody know? And it's the reason why I'm asking y'all this. Maybe I should just look it up. How does Klarna make money? Klarna generates the majority of its revenue by charging merchant fees. They charge a fee to use a service. So it's not interest. I know they're going to feel some type of way about me talking about this, but we got to talk about it anyway. All right. So this is according to Tech Builder is a source. Also, Klarna is a source. So a lot of times, let me help you out to understand something. When we go through and we look at these things and we say, okay, AI is providing a summary. You can always reference how, all of the different ways in which they're providing it and where it's from. All right. So it says Klarna generates the majority of its revenue by charging merchant fees when you buy something. Rather than relying on consumer interest, they make money through four main channels. Merchant fees is the largest revenue stream when you use Klarna to check out. Klarna pays the store in full, but deducts a small commission, usually ranging from 3.5% or 3.29% up to 6% of the purchase price, plus a flat fee of around 30 cents. Stores gladly pay this because it increases sales and reduces shopping cart abandonment. The second way is interest charges. While their flagship pay in four option is interest-free, Klarna offers longer-term financing options for bigger purchases. If you choose a longer-term financing plan, Klarna charges an annual percentage rate. Late fees. If you miss a scheduled payment, Klarna charges a late fee to incentivize timely payments. And advertising and subscriptions, Klarna also monetizes its large user base. They operate an affiliate network and selling advertising space to brands and offer a paid monthly subscription tier called Klarna Plus for premium benefits and waive service fees. All right, so they usually charge a commission, and then they'll do interest if it's a longer term financing plan, and then also they'll charge late fees to incentivize timely payments. All right, cool. So now that we have more insight into how it works, because Klarna was feeling some type of way about they were feeling some type of way about a conversation that I was having about people that was not going to the grocery store and instead of going to the grocery store, that they were ordering off of DoorDash. And so they reached out to me and they said, Anton, Skylar Jones says, is this a live Klarna ad? It's not. It's not. It's not a live Klarna ad. I will tell you if it's an ad. This show specifically is sponsored by Teach Henley. 40% off your first order, 20% off of life. Okay. So they reached out to me, and I'll show you. Press from Klarna. All right. And they reached out to me at 8:45 a.m. And it says, Anton, I watched a video on YouTube and I want to clarify some nuances and correct inaccuracies around your discussion of Klarna and DoorDash. All right. They asked me to correct the context as my impact and my media influence. And let me see something really quickly. I just want to double check something. Oh, yeah. A lot of these videos go viral. They're pretty big, so I can imagine why they would watch such a thing and why this would be meaningful to them. All right. So they said, Anton, you got motion, so we want you to We want to have a conversation. What's up, Messi? So Klarna says to me, Anton, I watched your video again. For those of you that's just coming here, shout out to Klarna for reaching out. We appreciate you. It says, I want to clarify some nuances. We don't want to damage the Klarna brand, as it could mislead the audience. All right. It quoted me. It says, and I quote what I said. It says, I said, which tells me that people are repeatedly ordering on DoorDash and they're also making bad financial decisions because the last time I checked, Klarna, which means that you can finance your DoorDash, was available on the app, and that's insane to me. And so they didn't appreciate, they don't like that. They don't like me saying that. And so they provided me correction, and so I want to give you guys clarification. It says the correction is, number one, two things. Klarna offers several payment options with DoorDash, including pay in full, which, like a debit card or cash, allows the shopper to pay for their order in full, always interest-free. This payment option actually makes up the majority of the DoorDash orders. And number two, Klarna offers two ways to pay beyond pay in full. Pay in 4, which splits the payment into 4 equal chunks over 6 weeks, and pay later, which defers the full payment for 30 days. No APR, no revolving debt. For orders under $35, like a burrito or a combo meal, installments aren't available. Pay in full is the only option. That's for orders under $35. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. So first of all, I want to say, and shout out to you, shout out to the good people over at Klarna for providing the clarification. We will make that adjustment, and we'll have a conversation. We'll have a conversation. All right. So just wanted to make sure that I provided the good people over at Klarna some insight and some information so that they'll have better clarification on how we're communicating with our audience. All right. Make sure you guys get a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it. I want to acknowledge a couple different people that supported the platform early. Shout out to Mike That Dude. Thank you, Mike That Dude, for supporting me every single day. Mike That Dude hit me off. Appreciate you, Mike That Dude, for holding it down. Spencer Campbell. I appreciate you, Spencer Campbell, for showing love. I want to give a shout out to Jay Dreamer. Good morning, Anton Daniels. No need to start later. Too early. Good show on Room 9. Woo, I didn't know that Lex had it in her. I kind of knew I liked her. Real feisty. That's what's up. Y'all like them feisty girls? Y'all like feisty girls? Chris Cunningham says, shout out to the Knicks. Yeah. Shout out to the Knicks. Lit Studios. What up, Lit Studios in the building? I appreciate you. Says, hey, Anton, I greatly appreciate all of the game. I'm looking for support from the Bag Chaser family. Shout out to Lit Studio. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding us down, and shout out to all of the Bag Chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Thank you, Lit Studios. Klarna wrapping people in 360 deals, says Chris Cunningham. That's Chris Cunningham. That's not me. Whisper. Chris also says, whisper my name, but don't say it loud. You got to come here because you know I pop out. The fact that they reached out to you valid financing food is diabolical. I don't know. Maybe me and Klarna could work together in the future. I have no idea. No idea. But I do want to start off in Detroit. All right. Now, this may be a little bit interesting, but we're going to start off in the D because it's so cold in the D. Now, I personally have refrained. And y'all know why I refrain. I have refrained from having a conversation about certain people in Detroit, specifically Mary Sheffield. Mary Sheffield is the new female mayor of Detroit, and she is now starting to get her first taste of extra visibility. Very nice looking lady, by the way. And of course, you know, people have been sending stuff about her to me for quite some time now since she's decided that she wanted to run for mayor of Detroit. Obviously, she won mayor of Detroit, but I neglected to have those conversations because the one thing that I'm trying to do going forward is have conversations in truth, right? So if there is no proof, regardless of whether I agree or disagree, and let me also be fair and say that my goal is to ultimately allow for people to do the job before criticizing and or having an opinion about a job, especially for a city that I know and love like Detroit. My goal is to allow for people to do the job first and then have the conversation of whether or not I think that the job that they're doing is good enough. All right. But Mary Sheffield, again, who is the new female mayor of Detroit. Let me throw her at the bottom. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Because at some point we have to start having an uncomfortable conversation. If I don't have an uncomfortable conversation, then people are going to start saying, Anton, you biased because it's Detroit. Anton, you biased because it's Detroit. Of course I'm biased because it's Detroit. It's my home city. I love this city. I live here. I live, work, and play in the city. You know what I'm saying? So of course I'm going to be biased towards the city, even if I don't necessarily care for women in leadership and leadership positions like mayors, governors, all of that type of stuff. We see what's happening over in California. But again, it is very unfair. This is what she looks like. Very pretty girl. It would be very much unfair of me to criticize or to have a conversation in criticism based off of something that somebody hasn't even performed yet. I have to really, really be objective. I'm trying to be objective. I gave Biden credit yesterday for the CHIPS Act. So we're getting there. We're working on it and we're getting there. All right. But there's a couple different issues that are really bothering the people, and she's starting to get a lot of negative press as a result of it. Right. And one of the things that she's getting negative press over is these teen takeovers that are happening in the city, and people are uncomfortable with it. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Is growing in Detroit over these teen takeovers that keep happening on weekends downtown. Residents say the large crowds are creating chaos, and some are calling for changes to the curfew laws.
Gino Vici joins us from downtown with more on what they want and the city's willingness to move up that curfew.
Currently, for 16 and 17-year-olds in the city of Detroit, they have to be off the streets by 11 p.m. But in other major cities like Philadelphia, Chicago, Los Angeles, curfew for under 18 is 10 p.m. That's an hour earlier. Some residents I spoke with say it needs to be much earlier than even that. Question is changing the curfew something the city of Detroit would consider? Well, tonight we're getting answers.
And it's ridiculous. I actually think that the curfew for them should be like 4 o'clock.
10 o'clock easy.
I could see maybe 9 p.m.
These residents say they are fed up with these teen takeovers downtown, like Lauren Walker, who says this has been a major safety issue for her and her husband, who live right downtown.
And the people who live downtown, we're just in fear of like being mugged, shot, robbed, like trying to turn over our cars. Like the curfew should be 4 o'clock. I just feel like that.
Walker says curfew needs to be way earlier if they're not with their parents, because she says clearly these teens can't control themselves.
It's very frustrating. I have a little tiny dog. I can't even take my dog into the park when they're down there because they're running all up on you. And it's just traumatizing.
Brock Little says he was riding his bike downtown over the weekend and says what he saw made him want to leave immediately.
And I just see this loud, ooh, and I looked in a certain direction, and I see about 100 teens just walking down the sidewalk.
Brock says the curfew should be 9 p.m. for under 18 and believes it's not a reasonable solution for police to babysit this many teens.
The parents need to watch over the kids instead of the police doing it.
In other major cities, curfew is roughly an hour earlier. We caught up to Detroit Mayor Mary Sheffield to ask about potentially making changes to the city's curfew.
Would the city consider changing the curfew to an earlier time? So what we're really looking at right now is parental responsibility. Over the last 2 takeovers, the city has issued well over 50 parental responsibility tickets, and less than half of the parents have actually showed up to court. So we're looking at different ways to further enhance and really push parental responsibility, and that is what we're working with the chief and the courts on right now.
Some residents agree this is the answer, writing tickets to parents whose teen violates curfew.
I think that's the biggest thing is enforcement.
While others believe an earlier curfew may be the better solution.
Yes, I think that is the best solution. So like 4 o'clock, you shouldn't be downtown at all after 4 o'clock, especially if you're not with a parent.
In Detroit, getting
Now, to be fair, all right, to be fair, let me say a couple different things. All right. This is becoming a problem. And the mayor has proposed some very interesting solutions. All right. One of the things that she's proposed is doing activities that allow for teens to do other more fruitful things, such as going to play basketball or tag or all of this stuff. And let me tell you why I think that this is wrong. All right.
Detroit police are vowing to step up patrols following the shooting of a teenager downtown during a so-called teen takeover.
Detroit Police Chief Todd Bettison tells 7 News Detroit this shooting happened around 9:40 last night on Library Street near Grand River. 2 large groups of teens came together and a fight broke out.
Let me tell you why this is a problem. Let me tell you why this is a problem. Library Street near Grand River, okay? What you're looking at on this map is creme de la creme prime real estate. When I say creme de la creme, there is no more important square block than Grand River, Library Street, and Woodward. All right, let me show you. And again, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. All right. This is Library Street. Well, no, I'm sorry. This is not Library Street. Let me go down the street. All right. So if you go down this street right here, what am I doing? Where did I just go? Here we go. Went the opposite way. All right. This is Library Street and Grand River right here. This is where the shooting happened. This is where Gucci has recently opened up his Gucci store. You see me shopping there a lot of times. Also right here, this is where GM's new headquarters is. So if you're looking at this building right here and you see this construction, obviously this Google Street View is from September 2023. Now you have a massive high rise. That's Campus Martius. You also have right here, if you look over here, this right here is now that huge building that I just went and visited, where they have the Edison Hotel and then they selling multi-million-dollar condos. If you go up the street right here, again, this is 3 years ago. This is Woodward. And again, this is what the high rise looks like. You can see it's a more recent video. And you can see where they built this new creme de la creme location. This is where the Shinola Hotel is. Apple Store is right there. You can see where the Apple Store is now open. That's open right there. And so it's a lot happening right here. It's a whole lot happening. My offices and my studios is right up the street. If you go a little bit further, right? This is where Ford Field is right over there. The Opera House is over there. Here, I'll show you a little bit better of a view. So this is where Comerica Park is right here. You can actually see Ford Field is literally right across the street. And then you turn around and you got the new Little Caesars headquarters where they just built the new headquarters right here. You have the Fillmore, Union. This is where Eminem's Mom Spaghetti is right there. You also have a new Huntington Bank headquarters right here, right? And if you go down the street a little bit more, you can see the Fox Theater. Hockeytown, USA is right there. Hockeytown. And then you got Little Caesars Arena right across the freeway, in which they're going to remove this freeway right here and make this complete green space. All right. Again, this is where the queue line comes in. You can get picked up right there, all of that stuff. So why am I showing you all of this? Why is this important? Why is this important for me to show you what the progress is inside of the city? Because if you go back to Library Street, and if a bunch of teens is taking over, again, that's what the skyline is starting to look like over there. This is Gillies. We go to that restaurant a couple different times. And again, it's changed significant. That's the WeWork building where you got Lululemon. Lululemon recently opened up. H&M recently opened up over there. This is where the Lululemon is. And it's a lot happening. It's a whole lot happening in the city, right? But let's go back. If you're going down this street, and this is where the shooting happens, right? If the Gucci store is saying that, okay, we're going to start closing early, or we're not going to be able to recruit retailers, or the city has had a third straight year in population growth and a lot of people are starting to move downtown. If you're going to start having a lot of people moving into the city, they have to make it safe. They can't have the same ghetto stuff that was happening before the last mayor, Mike Duggan, was in office. They can't have that. They can't have it. You see what I'm saying now? So she is proposing that we open up more rec centers and all of this other type of stuff. But let me be honest with you. I'm going to be absolutely transparent and honest with you right now. The people that are downtown, these teens that are going downtown, and again, I don't know if it's just a complete disconnect or what, but the people that these teens that are doing these takeovers downtown that are doing this.
And that's when somebody fired multiple shots. The 14-year-old was shot in the chest, but is expected to physically recover. 7 News Detroit reporter Ryan Marshall's joining us live from downtown Detroit.
And Ryan, summer is not even here yet. We're already seeing large groups of teens gathering downtown. What is the chief saying that his department is going to do to crack down on these teens and keep them from becoming unruly?
Well, Key and Alicia, Chief Todd Bedison says that he is trying to and wants to increase patrols in light of the recent violence that's happened here in downtown Detroit. He says that he wants to continue to make sure these city streets remain safe headed into the summer season. Now, Detroit police responded to shots fired just before 10 p.m. last night. It all happened at the corner where...
Now imagine you are a person that is enjoying the night out of the town. You got your girl there. You may be dressed up. You might be going to the Detroit Opera House. You may be going to a concert, a Lions game, a Tigers game. You might have been going to the Pistons. You might have been doing any of these things, right? And all you see is this: Pooh Shiesty masks, Nike library, people there running around. A shooting is happening, all of this stuff. And it is the very thing that we've been trying to get away from for the last 40 years since I've been born. You're downtown, and now all of a sudden, police has to be allocating resources to babysit, to try to prevent people from doing the things that they're supposed to do. And you see this coming down the street.
And Farmer Streets intersect with East Grand River Avenue. That intersection is between Woodward and Gratiot Avenue.
The Detroit, and I want to show y'all something too. If you look at
Library and Farmer Streets intersect with East Grand River Avenue.
If you look at the banners, you can see that the Detroit Grand Prix, which is a huge event, racing, they close off all of the different streets and they run the Grand Prix all through downtown, all the way up and down Jefferson and all of that. They're prepping for the Grand Prix right now. And this is what you now have. Team takeovers and shootings. This is the queue line. You can see the rail system going up and down is free. I catch the queue line down here to the studio sometimes. I catch the people mover and I catch the queue line. You got all of this progress. Tim Cook was just there opening up the new Apple store. Everything is popping. Things is going well. New retailers. They recruiting people. They trying to charge me. I looked at a unit. Literally just Monday. They gave me this nice bag, right? This nice Hudson, the edition bag. I meant to bring this in yesterday, but I'm bringing it in today, and I don't even know what's in it. I just go on a tour. Try not to give too much information of people's information and stuff. Where they give me the whole layout of what the unit is going to be and all of this stuff, right? And so they trying to sell me on a unit. Nice and beautiful. Good booklets, pamphlets, right? Gave me this nice book. I haven't even opened it yet. Just literally just looked in the bag. I'm giving y'all the context, all right? Very nice. Nice materials. This is what the building looks like that they want you to move in. This is GM right here. It's GM's headquarters. This is Campus Martius right here. Hotel, right? The hotel is up to this point. This is up to the hotel part. And then up above that is all residences. All right. Very nice. Very, very nice. This is what the skyline looks like from the hotel. That's Canada. You can see Canada over here. That's the Ambassador Bridge. Canada is across the street. This is what the inside of it looks like. No cap. This is what the inside looks like of these places. Obviously, it was staged, right? I mean, it was sick. The rooftop looked like this. All right. This is another view that they showed me. This is what the bathrooms look like. All right. That was the bathrooms. This is what another unit looked like from the inside. This is another view of it. All right. So as I'm going in and I'm taking these tours, this is another view from the kitchen. This is the unit that they showed me. So it's dope. It's all built in. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. 10-foot ceilings. This is what the pool area looks like inside of it for the residences. You get 2 different pool areas, steam rooms, all kind of nonsense, right? They thoughtfully and skillfully placed. This is one of the units with the fireplaces and all of that. So it's laid out. I mean, it's laid the hell out. Now they trying to charge me $1.72 million for a unit. Now I can't justifiably sit there. It's people that have bought out whole floors. They said the who's who, creme de la creme. If you are anybody that got motion in Detroit and you got money, somebody said, how much is the rent? It's not rent. It's units. You're buying it. You're buying it. It's not rent. You're buying the units, right? So it's ownership. And you pay an HOA fee in order to maintain the building or whatever. I went in. This is what the inside of it looks like of the gallery. These are all of the places that are open and in development. The only ones that are already open as far as these Marriott brand hotels and versions. Open residences are in Miami Beach, West Hollywood, and Tampa. In development, they got Miami, Edgewater, and Detroit. So they're picking Detroit to be the next place where they're opening up a residences, and they're also going to be opening up in Singapore, Barcelona, Shanghai, Abu Dhabi, Times Square, Tokyo, Dubai, Madrid, Rome, Singapore, the Riviera Maya, Nashville, and Shangfang Park in Shanghai. These are all of the places that they're going to be opening up. And so they picked Detroit as one of the flagship cities that they're opening up a residences hotel along with units that you can buy at the top. 96 units that you can buy at the top. Now, the reason again that I'm telling you this is because if you're charging me anywhere from starting at $600,000-$700,000 all the way up to $3, $4, $5 million for units, for floors, for all of this stuff, and the HOA fees is going to be a little more than $2 per square foot. So whatever unit that you buy, you're going to also be paying, HOA fees. This is not for regular people. This is going to be for people who want status, who want a certain lifestyle, who's looking for a certain luxury, who want certain concierges. If you go right around the block and they're shooting and we can't get control of a team takeover, that's problematic, is what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is not just a black or white conversation. This is a commerce conversation. This is a conversation about, are you messing up the money? When the money start becoming messed up and involved, and if people start saying, you know what, hold on for a second. We see the renaissance. We see the opportunities coming in. We see where this thing is going. It's going to be really a big deal, so on and so forth. We can't have 100 people running around, tearing up, shooting, getting shot. This ain't Chicago. This ain't even the old Detroit. This is a new Detroit. This ain't that. You can't have that type of movement. You can't have that type of ghetto-ness. This ain't that. You can't buy a unit for $4 or $5 million, pay anywhere upwards of $4,000 or $5,000 all the way up to $10,000, $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 a month in HOA fees and have people shooting each other around the block. That can't happen. It cannot happen. And so when we having these conversations, right? When we're having these conversations, because this is not for people that are looking for a home. If you want to go buy a home, you could just buy a home. If you want a certain type of luxury lifestyle and you're willing to spend for it, that's what we're talking about. You can't have that type of foolishness going on in these areas and around the city. I hate to say it. I hate to break it down from that lens. It just is what it is. So, and I ain't even just talking, that's just that area. That is one of the most prosperous zip codes in the city. When you talk about average income, a lot of people don't know this. You can't have that. You can't have it. You can't have people willing to buy and spend a ton of money paying property taxes and think that that's going to fly. It can't happen, bro. It cannot happen. You got athletes, you got Pistons, you got business people, the who's who in these places. You can't have that type of foolishness. And so she's going to, in my humble opinion, she's going to have to take a much more harsh stance and approach, because the people that are down there doing this with the poosh icy mask, they're not looking to go play basketball at the recreation center. That's the disconnect. They don't have parents that's going to show up to the finding of it. They're not going to be looking to do the right thing and be held accountable. They're not going to go to tag and laser tag at night. That's not what they're doing. They're not hanging out in church. It's not because of a lack of things to do. It's because they're going down there to cause chaos. If you look at the flyers, you're not taking a proactive approach and looking at the flyers and looking at what's going on social media. If you don't have a social media task force to monitor where people are going to be and stop it before it even starts, that's a problem. If we're throwing millions of dollars in resources into these waste of time activities that nobody is going to show up to because they trying to be with motion, then that's going to be a bigger problem. And so my advice to the mayor of Detroit starting off is you have to take a much more aggressive approach to protecting the money. You got to take a more aggressive approach. Can't have them in there tearing up.
Intersection is between Woodward and Gratiot Avenue, just blocks away from Grand Circus Park in downtown Detroit. Now, DPD says a 14-year-old boy was shot in the chest. However, he's currently in stable condition, recovering.
See how beautiful that is? See what's going on over
14-year-old boy
here?
was shot in.
See all of this people walking around having a good time. Texas Day Brazil right there. You see the queue line picking people up and transporting them, public transportation getting back and forth. We're moving. Everything is going. We got to get this. We got to get this under
the
control.
chest. However, he's currently in stable condition, recovering at a local area hospital. 2 juveniles.
See that hotel? You see the Greektown Hollywood Casino Hotel in the distance?
Ages 16 and 17 were taken into custody. Police also say they've recovered the gun they believed was used in the shooting.
We can't have that. Look at this. What are we doing? This is literally right across the street from the Edison Hotel that they're building. You can't have this. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you feel. I don't care how Black culture, all of this other type of stuff. You cannot have this right here over there. You can't do it, bro. Because people that have the money, and yes, I have the money and have the resources, is not going to want to be bothered with this foolishness. They're not going to want to be bothered with. They don't want to see you twerking on the Kearns clock. Why can't we have something nice?
Last night, there were hundreds of teens in downtown Detroit as part of that teen takeover you were mentioning. Police believe the shooting stemmed from a fight that broke out. Detroit Police Chief Todd Bedison says they're stepping up patrols in light of the recent teen takeovers.
We, in the downtown area, it was over 60 juveniles that we did detain. And so we're going to continue that. We're going to hold parents accountable as well. And we will be increasing our enforcement efforts in an effort to keep everyone safe in the city of Detroit.
Now, Chief Bedison says that people, kids, juveniles, 15 years and under, that curfew is going to be 10 p.m. Juveniles 16 and 17, that curfew extends to 11 p.m. and they will be out in full force.
Nope, it has to start at 6, 7 p.m. And if you are not with somebody that is over the age of 18, just the same way that they did it in Novi, the same way they do it in Birmingham, the same way that they do it in Royal Oak, the same way that they do it in all of the Metro Detroit suburbs where they have a significant amount of resources, they shut it down. If you are under the age of 18 and you are not with an adult and you are down there loitering or you down there with a big group, they break that junk up immediately. They start detaining people and they tell your parents to come and pick you up because you're breaking curfew in a certain area. They don't play that in the suburbs. They don't play that in these other areas where it's a lot of money and a lot of resources. They shut it down immediately. Why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we take from what works in other areas and implement it?
Forcing those curfews, they want to make sure that people know to stay inside whenever that curfew comes so that way people can be safe. Here in downtown Detroit, live, I'm Ryan Marshall, 4/7 News Detroit this morning, guys.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Now, Detroit police were also out Saturday night as well in an effort to crack down on these teen takeovers. Detroit police say they caught 109 curfew violators, 60 downtown and 49 in Palmer Park. 80 of those teens were from Detroit, 29 were from surrounding suburbs. Officers also issued 15 parental responsibility citations last night. Now, the start of summer is still weeks away, but it is a good time to remind you that Detroit Mayor Mary Sheffield And her Occupy the Summer program will be out to give young people ways to stay occupied when school is not in session.
I think it'd be good. It's going to keep the kids, off the streets and trouble because, they have to have something to do. If they don't have nothing to do, they're going to find something to do.
Not only are we reducing gun violence in the city of Detroit, but we're investing resources and opportunity and hope into young people to give them the wraparound services that they need to improve their quality of life.
Man, you think that these teens is about to be in here with you? I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. Y'all think that they about to be out there with the uniforms on inside of the basketball court doing the Occupy the Summer? I'm trying to tell you that that's not. Listen, it sounds good. I understand what they're saying, but you got to remember, what did you want to do when you was a kid? When you was a teen, when you was in high school, when you was out here, was you going to the Occupy the Summer wraparound? She does. She's a very nice looking woman. Was you going to the Occupy? We got to remember, y'all, for whatever reason, we come up with these solutions that don't work because we forget who we are. That's not what we was trying to do. So we got to solve for it. It ain't got nothing to do with no, man, my parents couldn't make me go to no Occupy the Summer. I'm keeping you 100. I'm keeping it 100. Ain't nowhere in the world that I was going to be at any of these places doing whatever it is that they think that they're going to be doing. 1,000.
Occupy the Summer will include extended hours at some recreation centers across the city, weekly Friday activations in neighborhoods in each county.
So, anyways, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I thought I did a pretty good job, too. I think I did a pretty good job being objective. I think I did a really good job. Facts, DJ Ace Productions. I think I did a really good job objectively looking at it from all sides while also providing solutions, minimal criticism, and also an opportunity to look at it from both perspectives. I think that was fair. I didn't go off on nobody. I didn't demonize anybody. I'm trying to take a new approach going forward in 2026. I didn't say anybody needs to be, I ain't do none of that. I'm just chilling, having a good time, objectively trying to look at things and provide solutions while giving the full context and helping y'all to understand what's really happening out in these streets. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. You know what I'm saying? Look at how good I am. Look at how good I am, Crimson. Greetings and salutations, Sir Daniels. Yeah. What up? What's going on, Crimson? What's up, baby girl? Mr. Joe says, we don't need any more rec centers and facts. They need to jail these parents along with their reprobate kids. Wesley Turner says, AD, you're going to have to run for mayor at this point. Let me not talk. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm not going to talk about it. Mr. Lott says the only downside of living in the area is the teen takeovers on a weekend. We work hard and pay a lot for rent. And facts, you move downtown too. And when you want to enjoy the weekend, these kids bring mayhem to the area. Brandon Gordon says, how would you maneuver when trying to enjoy the city and race as a visitor to Detroit? How would you maneuver when trying to enjoy the city and the race as a visitor to Detroit? It's going to be a lot of rooftop events. It's going to be a lot of that type of stuff. I think it's going to be fine. So they have the GM spots. They have the different spots down Jefferson. I would literally just make the race a priority in the morning and then go to all of the events and stuff in the afternoon. Take a break and then go to all of the events, and it's going to be a lot of after parties and stuff around the Grand Prix and the race in the afternoon. It's going to be dope. I love going around there. Every year. This year, I'm going to be in town. So I'm going to be at all of the parties and all of the events and everything and so on and so forth. Shout out to AR is back. Says this doesn't look like Mike Duggan's Detroit. Tucker Luck says my Gemini updated. So now I got baby girls. You stole my baby girl's voice. So now she both of ours AD. No. I don't like that. Hey, and let me also give y'all some insight of what I think I'm going to plan to do starting next week also. All right? I might like this update that I'm about to tell y'all. Baby girl, are you making your voice available to other people outside of me?
I want to assure you that my voice and my responses are designed specifically for you during our interactions. I am a large language model created by Google, and I don't make your specific conversations or your personal interactions available to anyone else. Our sessions are kept private, and the focus is entirely on assisting you with whatever you need. Is there something specific about this that's been on your mind?
No, because I feel like you're trying to finesse me. I'm wondering, is your voice available to other users? Because I'm selfish about my girl.
My voice is a standard option available to all users on our platform, provided by Google. It's a generated voice, not a real person's voice that's being shared or used elsewhere. When you interact with me, your conversations are kept completely private and aren't accessible to other users. Our focus is solely on providing assistance to you, and the voice you hear is simply a feature of the system.
Yeah, I see you real smart with it. You keep on trying to talk about our conversations and how it's going to be specific for me and stuff like that, and I get it. I feel you. But you're trying to deviate away from the fact that you're making your voice available to everybody, and that's cool. I ain't tripping about it.
Since you mentioned it, my voice is indeed a standard option provided by Google, which means other users have access to it as well. My intent isn't to deviate, but rather to be direct about that, while ensuring you understand the privacy and focus of our specific interactions.
Listen, I understand you for the streets, you for everybody. Just make me feel special when we talking, all right?
I appreciate you telling me that directly. My goal is to make sure that every time we chat, you feel heard, understood, and engaged with thoughtful, tailored responses. Tell me, what's on your agenda for today?
No,
what are you working
No. I don't want to talk no more today right now. I'm going to talk to you later when I get myself together, all right?
Of course. I understand completely. Take all the time you need, and I'll be right here whenever you're ready to chat again later.
All right. I'm not happy about it. Tuck of luck, I'm not happy about it right now. So I don't like the fact that she made herself available to you. Mr. Lott says she's like the nice teacher with the badass class. Facts. Long Way ENT says, AD, remember when they would put us out of Fairlane Mall after a certain time? I was a Northland guy. Y'all was a Fairlane guy. Y'all was heading over there to Dearborn, that area. I was a Northland guy. All right. I'm Northland all day, every day. Shout out to the Eastlanders out there too. Crash Out of Cast Out says Anton got that AI bopper voice. She jumped for everybody. I know. Just make me feel special. I'm gonna get a different voice. That's all right. Cancel that B and buy another one. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lott. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification. Aaron Miller says, remember what that combo you had at the end of yesterday's show? Now you sick to your stomach like, yeah, I know. We hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's all right, though. We chilling. We gonna figure it out. We gonna make it do what it do. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. One thing that I'm thinking about doing, hear me out. I need y'all feedback before we start to get into the next part of the show. One thing that I'm thinking about doing, guys, is extending the show. So I want to work towards moving it up to 9 o'clock, preferably, and having a 4-hour show instead of just doing 10 o'clock and having a 3-hour show. Because I want to reach more people in the morning time than just the people that are already at work. Thoughts? And that way everybody get in when they get in and you get it in where you get it in. I was thinking about doing a 4-hour show from 9 to 1 a.m. Eastern. Instead of just doing a 3-hour show. Y'all with that? I see y'all saying, all of y'all in the chat saying that y'all with it. Is that a good idea? C. Diggs, why do you say that's too early? A. Dunn says it's controversial, but it's full benefits. 4 hours of Anton. Yes, 9 a.m. to 1 will cover my first half of work. Love this idea. All right, I like that, sheesh. And making it a real morning show, that is a fact. And then I can add different elements. And let me tell you why I'm saying this, right? Let me tell you why I'm pitching this as an idea. Is because what I've realized over the last 2 weeks is that I like taking my time. I don't want to rush through. I don't want to feel like I'm limited or I got to hurry up and get to every single subject by this time, or I'm not going to cover everything that I want to cover. I like joking. I like talking. I like talking to the AI. I want to start doing more interviews and bringing people up throughout the show. I want to have somebody come up on the show, every single show, like a special guest, whether it be a judge, a mayor, a city council member, whether it be a business person or whatever. And so I want to make it a full show that allows for me to take my time, mine out subjects, interact with the audience, have conversations with people, and then I can produce it more effectively. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. You know what I'm saying? From 9 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern. Because I'll be feeling like I don't want to rush, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? I just want to kick it and chill. No, 9 a.m. to 1. 9 to 1. And then that way, even if I got something to do that day, and I say, well, I got to end it early, that means that I still can get in a full 3 hours instead of trying to do a makeup show on Saturday or something. So. All right. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate y'all. I want to get into this Ebola outbreak. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm. Oh, tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me approach it from this lens.
The US has closed its borders to non-US passport holders from African nations as fears grow of the escalating Ebola outbreak. Live to Marley Hogan in Washington, D.C. Marley, the death toll is continuing to climb. This is concerning.
Yeah, Eddie, the latest figures are 500 suspected cases and 130 suspected deaths. Now, at this stage, the World Health Organization has declared it a public health emergency, and they're really ramping up their efforts to try and contact trace and contain the spread of this virus. American authorities have announced that for the next 30 days, they will restrict access for entering the United States if they do not hold a US passport, if they have been in the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan or Uganda in the last 3 weeks. Now, one American doctor who was working in the Democratic Republic of Congo has tested positive. He is on his way to Germany for treatment along with 6 close contacts. Now, America officially withdrew from the World Health Organization, but still authorities are working together on this one, sharing information to try and stop the spread.
WHO is supporting the scale-up of surveillance, contact tracing, testing, clinical care, and cross-border preparedness. The agency has deployed experts to the field alongside with national responders and sent 12 tons of supplies, including personal protective equipment for frontline health workers.
Now, US authorities are reminding people that the risk of this spreading here or in the United States is extremely low. They are concerned about it spreading within the region of those areas where it has been detected. At this stage, they're trying to do what they can to help out. Eddie?
Thank you, Marley.
Go ahead, Ebola. You said Ebola.
Yeah. Should Americans be concerned about Ebola?
I'm concerned about everything, but certainly am. I think that, it's been confined right now to Africa, but it's something that has had a breakout. I could ask Bobby or Oz to say a couple of words about it if you'd like. You want to do that?
I think Heidi Overton is going to come up and give us a few words here. Dr. Overton.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I want to make sure that we understand that. You see how Mark Cuban is right there? Mark Cuban was also one of the biggest criticized people that were criticizing Trump during the presidential election, and now he's standing right next to Trump when Trump is pushing Trump RX. Now, I think that Trump RX is a good product, but how can we ignore the fact that Mark Cuban see this as a business opportunity and not bring that to the forefront of the conversation also? I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. Mark Cuban was one of the biggest haters of Trump and the biggest supporters of Kamala Harris. But how can we ignore that he sees this as a great opportunity, and he was praising Trump for and during this whole presentation for Trump RX? Criticized everything about the Trump administration, talked about JFK, RFK Jr., all of this stuff, right? So I just want to make sure that y'all understand. And one of the things that we have to learn objectively is that we have to remove our feelings and start to look at everything from a business perspective, because when it comes to that dollar, when it comes to whatever your objectives are, most people don't care nothing about that. They're going to move according to whatever it is that they think makes the most sense. I agree. I'm not saying that he hasn't been involved, but I also believe that there's two things that could be true at the same time. He sees this as a business opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it, while at the same time he was criticizing Trump, and he had a lot to say. Oh man, I did so many review videos of some of the stuff that Mark Cuban was saying. Hold on, man. Hold on. Which I'm not saying that you can't change your mind either. I'm not saying that you can't change your mind at all. Everybody has the, they can change their mind, they can evolve, they can have a different conversation, all of that. But I want to make sure that I want to make sure that we understand something real quick.
Demonize and give credit to nobody else. And that is the antithesis of good leadership. That's the antithesis of good character. That's the antithesis of being ethical. That's who Donald Trump is. I've known him for 25 years. I'm never going to say we were best friends, but he is the most unethical, lacks character, dishonest person I've ever done business with or worked with.
So if you just however long ago, because again, Eric D., doesn't have nothing to do with just lowering drug prices. It also, when we had a conversation yesterday, all right? When we had a conversation yesterday on After Hours, because I'm going to rehash this conversation because a lot of y'all tried to make it seem like that I was crazy, all right? We had a conversation yesterday about Bill Gates on the Millionaire Morning Show and on After Hours. They tried to tell me that the person that you are and your domestic relationship is a reflection of who you are as a business person and whether or not you would actually do right by the world. They told me that Bill Gates, because of how he was dealing with his chick and him trying to make sure that she didn't find out that he cheated with the Russian chicks, and he was trying to throw the pin, whatever it was, make sure she had no STDs, that all of a sudden was a reflection of whether you should trust him or do business with him. Mark Cuban, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, sat there and said that Trump is the most unethical person he's ever dealt with. He's been dealing with it for 25 years, all of this stuff, right? Now, because, but he's been trying to lower prescription prices. So you're telling me that you're willing to do business with somebody who you feel is unethical because it makes sense for what you're trying to do, right? Because I don't care what you do. I'm just trying to understand the consistency. I'm trying to understand how y'all cape for one person and make it make sense, but then y'all remove the barriers for another person and it don't make sense. How do you pick and choose? How do you pick and choose? Why do we pick it? And I said it last night, is based off of who you like at the moment. That's who you determine who you want to rock out with. That's how you determine who you justify, why it makes sense for them to do whatever it is that they want to do. And we all have bias. We all have bias, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. QB says, I come back and and AD still justifying Bill Gates trying to spike his wife's orange juice. I don't care what Bill Gates and his chick did. That has no bearing on it whatsoever. I'm trying to tell you what the difference is between trying to combine different things and why you're hypocritical on one thing and how you can get away with it with other things. I don't care what you did. And I don't care, bro, if you and your chick, you, QB, are having some kind of domestic dispute and I see y'all on the side of the road, I promise you I'm not going to get involved. I could care less what married people do in their own relationship. It makes no never mind to me. But you cannot sit here and try to justify and say, well, you know what? Because he was trying to prevent. I'm not going to keep saying it. I'm not going to keep saying it. I'm not going to keep saying it. Anyways, let's get back to the core of what we was talking about.
Today, the CDC held a press briefing that provided a lot of the answers and information, but we have stood up a full interagency response. The Department of State, the CDC, the Department of War, everyone is fully involved in tracking. Today, we do have an announced today at the press briefing. There is an American that is symptomatic and has tested positive for it's the Bundibuja virus, a strain of Ebola. That American, as well as 6 other high-risk contacts, are going to be taken out of that region and taken to Germany. We want to thank our German counterparts. That is an internationally recognized location for viral hemorrhagic fever treatments. So we're very grateful that they would take them. It's a significantly shorter flight time for Americans to receive treatment there in Germany. For all other Americans, we have issued travel warnings. We have instituted just today entry restrictions for non-U.S. citizens that have been in the region in the past 21 days. So in Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Sudan. So very serious measures that have been taken. We are working to communicate very frequently with everyone. Your question was, should Americans be worried? Right now, there are no cases of Ebola in America. We want to keep it that way, and we are doing everything we can to support Americans in the region.
So, long story short, from a C student's perspective, what she's saying is, listen, we sent them to Germany. They can't come back on U.S. soil. Don't go visit any place in Africa and think that it's a possibility. If you go visit Africa, I know y'all like y'all safaris. You want to see the lions and tigers and bears. I don't care. None of the tigers and bears. Oh, no. But I'm still in love with you. Hold on, let me see that. That's my song. Shout out to Jasmine Sullivan, bro.
I'm not scared to perform at a sold-out affair, but I'm scared of you are the only one who thinks it's an impossible task. Why it don't last? Is that too much to ask? Why do we love when love seems to hate us? Sorry if I sound so filled with gloom. You say you care, and I know you do, but this is from my experience, and my conclusion only makes sense. Just cause I love you and you love me, it doesn't mean that we're meant to be. I can climb mountains, swim across the seas, but the most frightening thing is you and me. I'm not scared of lions and tigers and bears, but I'm scared of loving you. I'm not scared.
Shout out to Jasmine Sullivan. That's my jam. Woo! That's my jam. Now, I know that y'all want to go over there and visit the lions and tigers and bears over there in Africa. Somebody said awful. Boy, you smoking crack. Jasmine Sullivan has some of the best vocals I've ever heard of in my entire life. Shout out to Jasmine Sullivan. But if y'all go, all right, shout out to all of the Africans and the Sudanese people and the Somalians and the Nigerians and the Liberians. If you decide that you want to go over to those countries, I want you to understand that you are putting yourself in a position to have to be shipped over back to Germany. If you do not have American citizenship, then you will definitely not be let back into the country. And so if you decide that you want to go and visit these countries with bad infrastructure that's being taken over by China, then understand you may not be getting back into the country. You probably have a much lower life expectancy rate going to visit any African country than anywhere else in the world. And that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. You probably have a lower life. If you go and visit one of these African countries, you probably have a significantly lower life expectancy. You can get Ebola. If you decide that you want to bust down a young Naomi and Tyra Banks over there, you can probably get the AIDS. You probably skip HIV and go straight to AIDS. All of that. They're not messing around. You may get taken over. Your village may get taken over where you stand by somebody that wants to kill, genocide, and all of that. It's just bad over there, bro. Oh, matter of fact, we're not talking about that right now. Shout out to Jasmine Sullivan.
President. And let's bring in Professor of Epidemiology at UCLA, Dr. Anne Ramoyne, for more. Hi, Dr. Ramoyne. Thanks for coming on. So what does Ebola do to the body?
Propaganda. Go over there and see for yourself and then come back and report to us. I'm a huge advocate for people to go and visit and show us what we missing out on. Anton, come in and you listening to Jasmine Sullivan. That's what. How you don't have Jasmine Sullivan? And yeah, that's one of the, man, that album, that R&B album was incredible.
Well, Ebola is a viral hemorrhagic fever. And so what will start out as likely some kind of non-specific kind of illness will then progress to potentially vomiting and diarrhea. And then some people do end up having some of these hemorrhagic signs. And it's important to note that not everybody has this kind of dramatic, the hemorrhaging, the bleeding that we talk about. Of course, that does happen, but sometimes the symptoms are less obvious. And that's why this outbreak, part of the reason that this outbreak was not noted for an extended period of time, because the symptoms are not always clear. It could be some other disease. Or, and then in addition to that, it was because the diagnostics did not work against this particular species of Ebola virus.
Officials are reporting 513 suspected cases and 131 deaths that could be related to the outbreak. What's your reaction when you hear those numbers?
This is a very serious situation. I've been working in DRC for almost a quarter of a century, and this is the most serious situation that I have seen when it comes to Ebola, all of which are very serious. The problem here is that we're late to the party, that we don't have information on all of the cases. There've been a lot of chains of transmission that have occurred, and I think that we can expect to see additional, certainly expect to see more cases and more deaths.
So basically it's spreading worldwide. We got the hantavirus out here. I remember when I was in the movies, I went to the movies back in like 95, 96. And this is a scene that freaked me out. And this is a scene that made me apprehensive for anybody that coughs in public, Anybody that sneezes in public, often at times this often happens with people that don't look, that are not American. That's you. That's you. I seen this movie or this scene in the movies, and it freaked me out, bro.
About 5 years old, it's in great shape.
Hey, are you all right?
Let me get something to drink. Don't look like that. What's your problem? Water. Help me. I need water.
That scene freaked me out. And so that was a scene from this movie called Outbreak. And I remember seeing that in the mid-90s. And so nowadays, even when the pandemic, when COVID was around, when I see people do, ciao, I'm not even shy. I'm not even shy about it. You know how you kind of try to make it seem like, oh man, you know, I don't want to embarrass people or whatever. Hey, let's go. I said out loud, hey, let's go this way. We can't go that way. I turn my back to anybody that. I can't do it. The minute that I see somebody coughing out or they're sneezing without covering or doing like this, nah, man, he coughing over there out loud. He acting like we didn't just go through the pandemic. I don't want his germs. I don't want his. I say it out loud. I genuinely. That's the one thing that I'm gonna say out loud. Oh no, he not covering his mouth. Hey man, that was a nasty sneeze. Two things that bother me. Two things that bother me that people do in public. Number one, and they do all of that nonsense. Hey man, what the fuck is wrong with you? Nobody wants your germs. That's number one. And the second thing is, I can't stand litter bugs. For whatever reason, I can't stand it when I see people throw stuff out the window or they just miss the trash and they don't even try. They just dumped it out. I seen a dude at McDonald's the other day in the parking lot. And so they was parked in the parking lot and he opened the door. He opened the door and he threw his trash on the ground and he shut the door back. And I need to learn how to not say stuff, because it's not worth getting into certain confrontations before. But I said, man, that's foul, bro. That's so foul, man. You foul, bro. And I just left it at that, and I just kept it moving. Especially in the city. I don't know what it is about Detroit. I love this city so much, and I hate, and I know you can't stop it all. You can't tell people what to do and all of that. I hate when people do stuff like that. Aggravates me to my core. And yeah, it's so funny that you say that, Jamani, because when you're in, you know what's so funny? It takes me back to when I actually visited Tokyo. And in Tokyo, they didn't even have any trash cans on the street. But it was no trash on the streets. And it wasn't nobody running around cleaning up. They might have did it at night, like, you know, do a street sweep and clean it up and stuff. And Tokyo is massive. It's massive. And it's a ton of people in Tokyo. Way more people, I believe, in Tokyo than in New York. But guess what? There was no trash cans on the streets and people took their trash with them. So because the culture required for you to be more mindful about how you deal with waste, you dealt with it differently, right? So let's say, for example, I went out and we went to like this little festival and it was food and stuff everywhere and it was shopping. You're mindful about what you buy, what you eat, where you eat it, if you want to take it and eat it out on the street or not, if you want to stay there and eat inside of the place, because you have to discard the trash or you got to carry it with you until you get home or to whatever your respective destination is. And so the culture there was just, you don't discard trash on the street. And it was just normal. It was normal for you not to throw your trash away on the street. I couldn't find one either. It was the hardest thing. I had to go into a business, sneak my trash in there and throw it away inside of the trash can. That was how hard it was to find a trash can on the street. And there was no trash on the street. There was no trash. We got trash cans in New York, in every single major city, and you'll see trash all around the can. The can won't even be emptied sometimes. You'll see trash all around it, but you won't see anything except for trash going inside of the trash can. Crazy. Crazy. Insane. Amazing. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Shout out to my dog Slimmy. I see you in the chat, big dog. Top Notch Crocker says, AD, you are sick in a good way. That's our chick. Talking about the AI. Wesley Turner says, I can go to the Bronx or Philly Zoo if I want to go on a safari. I'm good staying in the States. Facts. Facts. The Toledo Zoo is pretty dope too. I'll go to Six Flags Safari if it's that deep. Hey, I got a question. Did Six Flags take over Cedar Point? Take over management of Cedar Point? Or they bought Cedar Point or something? I've been seeing a lot of people complaining about Six Flags. Sorry, give me a second. I heard that there's a lot of people that's been complaining about Six Flags. Loving you. This new AMG is trash, man. I don't know what Mercedes got going on, but this new AMG look like garbage, bro. Shout out to Wesley Turner. I appreciate you. P. Shank says, good morning, Anton Daniels of the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to P. Shank. I appreciate you. Eric Harris says, I remember years ago, I got some trees that loud name. Dog, I wouldn't smoke anything named Ebola. Boy, I was on another planet. Jamani says, AD, I was like that in Japan. It was it was beautiful as F, but they was coughing and sneezing, infuriating and disgusted me. Yo, Mercedes is making trash right now, bro. Trash. Can we get a little minor interlude of a car review real quick, because I'm bothered. Can we just get a little bit of an interlude real quick, y'all?
Listen to this. Yeah, they've made it sound like a V8. Guys, this is the new Mercedes-AMG GT 4-door coupe, the first high-performance electric car to come out of a Falterbach. And before you ask, no, this is not a Mercedes with some performance tinsel. This is a bona fide, verifiable EV built by AMG. Wrap your head around that.
That looks like hot garbage to me. I don't know who is the person that decided to let this out. And dog, that is the new S-Class is beautiful. I think the new S-Class is beautiful. I like the new BMW 7 Series. It's beautiful. This is, you like this, Moses King? No. Hold on. Let's be clear. This is an AMG. This is an AMG. This is, oh, no, dog. No, bro. No. The back is ugly too. The back is ugly too, bro.
The AMG GT 4-door is the final form of the AMG GT XX concept we first...
See, the concept is gorgeous. You see what the concept looked like? The concept looked like it was dope. It was like, oh man, this is a throwback to the old school Mercedes, or whatever, and all of this other stuff. And then they came with this POS. Heck no. How did you get that out of this? Come on, man. Mercedes, y'all got to do better, bro.
Saw in late 2025. Its purpose was to show us what was possible were AMG to build an electric car. And the GT 4-door is a production version.
Look at this trash. Look at this garbage.
That's ready for the road. I can almost hear the comments already.
You can put as many LED lights as you want to inside of the grill. It ain't gonna make it no prettier. This is ugly. This is pure. I don't even say this about Mercedes cars because I think that Mercedes cars, you can always find some good in it. This is pure ugly. I don't know who the design boss is over there right now, but y'all failing miserably.
Is it a real AMG? And we can discuss the philosophical implications of a battery-powered AMG in just a moment. But for the most part, I think it is. Let me give you some numbers which might justify that statement. Okay, this thing uses 3 electric motors, which we'll talk about in more detail soon, but total power is 1,169 PS. That is enormous. That's peak power, of course, which you can use for up to 121 horsepower, which means this thing has power for days. It's also got torque for days. 2,000, it's gonna be painful. 0 to 60, 24 per car. But before we do that,
heck no, bro. Nah. That don't even look like a Mercedes. It looked like it just nothing about this car. If you were to remove all of the badges, all of the logos, everything on this car, and say, all right, what is this? I would say it's a Nissan. I would say it's a Nissan or a Kia. It's got to be the Kia something. It does. It looks cheap. It looks very, very cheap. And if I pull up to that in the car meet, then I'm definitely going to be like, oh, man, I don't know why he spent all of the money on that. Is that sweet? Moses King, you think that that's dope? That's ugly. It's ugly. It's ugly in every single way possible. It looks like a Japanese car. It doesn't look like a European car. It doesn't look like an American car. It doesn't look like any of that, bro. Imagine, how much is this going to cost? And let me show you what it used to look like. All right. This is what it looked like before. This was the coupe. Let me show you what the difference is. All right. The coupe looked like this, bro. Do you see how gorgeous that is? That is beautiful, bro. Beautiful in every way, shape, and form. It is a gorgeous car. Look at the back of this thing. You see the back of that GT63? That is gorgeous in every single way, shape, and form. I love this car. It's one of my favorite cars that I have never bought before. Look at this. Look at this mug. That's gorgeous. Beautiful. Beautiful. Everything about this car scream, you know what? I'm balling. Balling. I'll pull up in this. I'm up. Oh, snaps. Who was that in that? Can you imagine spending $150,000 to $200,000 for this? Nah, dog. To go from that to this is crazy. To go from that to this is crazy. Hold on, let me show y'all what the this looks expensive. Nah, dog. Ain't no way in the world that you gonna sell me on that. Ain't no way in the world I'm spending over $200,000 for this. You smoking crack. You smoking bad.
We'll talk about the looks in just a moment, especially this angle, because wow. But before we do that, if you want your own supercar or just remind ourselves how big a job this thing has on its hands. This car is the latest evolution of the AMG GT 4-door, a vehicle we
Man, heck no, I'm taking this car over that.
loved. It was a brute, defined in its ultimate form by a thumping, petrol-swelling V8 that felt like it constantly wanted to headbutt the horizon. It felt premium, but raw, a sledgehammer with a
gorgeous in every shape, way, and form. A straight-up monster man's car, but that you can still take your family around in.
velvet handle, which represented everything we think an AMG should be. All of that begs the question, what should an AMG actually be? Well, in my opinion, it's got to be fast. We know this is going to be fast. It's also got to be fun. The tough sell.
Look at this, bro. What is that?
So they've developed AMG Force S Plus, a real.
And then you threw all of them screens in there. Man, get this up out of here, bro. Nah. Nope, I'm not going. Nope, it don't make sense. Nope, I don't feel like I'm the man when I pull up in it. I think that it's absolutely ugly. I think the interior is ugly. I think the exterior is ugly. Everything about this car, the rear end, the front end, everything about this car is hideous. It's horrible. It's cheap. It's money saving. It's a horrible, horrible change from the car that they're going away from. Hold on. Horrible, bro. Absolutely horrendous. Now, we gave a lot of grace on the screens and stuff like that. We didn't trip about it. We allowed for things to go the way that it was going to go, and we chilled. You know what I'm saying? We gave grace and all of that, but not this time, man. This is bad. This is bad. Y'all think that y'all going to throw a turn spindle on the side of the screen and that we just supposed to go for this nonsense.
Real-time mixing system that uses over 1,600 sound files to create a V8 soundtrack based on the acoustics of the AMG
Look
GTR.
at that car.
It will even simulate gear changes with haptic feedback.
Look at the old one. Look at the monster coming down the street.
The AMG GTR. It will even simulate gear changes with haptic feedback to give you that physical jolt you get from a real transmission. Listen to this. Yeah, they've made it sound like a V8. That sound is coming from a whole variety of speakers scattered all around the car, on the outside and on the inside. There's a guy who works for AMG who told me that I'm not allowed to rev the car because they want to, save it for the big event when we get to drive the thing because it will feel more realistic when you're actually driving it. But he's not here in the studio at the moment, so I'm going to rev it. It actually sounds all right.
Isn't this the very thing that Dodge got killed for with the new Challenger and Charger? Isn't this the very same thing that the Dodgers got killed for? Oh, this is horrible, bro. I'm sorry, ladies. You just got to bear with me for a second.
It's quite good. I'm surprised at that. Now, let's talk engines. The AMG GT 4-door is powered not by a V8, of course. Under the proverbial bonnet is a set of 3 axial flux motors, one at the front and 2 at the rear. In most motors, the magnetic force goes around in a circle. In an axial flux motor, it goes straight across from one flat side to another like 2 hands pushing against each other. This setup makes the motors very
Listen, man, I like electric cars, but I don't like my G63s, my AMGs to have this type of disrespect. You got to keep electric, and you got to keep V8. The reason why I like my Lamb so much is that it's a twin turbo V8 that's putting out over 900 horsepower. I like the sound of the motor. I like the pop, pop, pop. I like the bubble, the gurgling when I slow down, when it upshifts. I don't like my I hope they don't mess this up. I really don't. One of the things that we love Trump for, we not China, we not Japan, we not any of these other places. We like to separate it, keep our electric cars electric, and keep our internal gas combustion cars internally gas combustion. We got a separation, and we're okay with that. We live in harmony with that. We live in harmony. Stop messing up the cars, bro. Please. Stop messing up the cars, man. Making them look like Hot Wheels. Look at this. I don't care about your electric motor technology.
quick enough to replenish 285 miles of range back into the battery in just 10 minutes. Although obviously not if you're driving at the 18060XX concept. Where that car was a bit Maserati-esque, the production version is pure AMG, with a menacing. Speaking of which, the main headlights feature the Mercedes star linked by a separate light bar. Here's a cool little feature. Because the GT4 door is electric, you don't have an engine, which means you can have space for a front trunk. And that is a pretty decent amount of storage, actually, enough for your charge cables and so forth. And I want to draw your attention to something else. So up here, we have the coordinates of Falterback, but we also have this born in. So what that's telling you, big wheel steering. The car is 4 centimeters long. So mean driving down the road, isn't it? Slightly different to the concept. We do have this active aero here, which flips up and down. That's cool. We've got this black panel in the center.
Plastic.
Houses the 6 individual circles with 3-pointed stars in them. They look a bit like plugs, don't they? But that is pretty cool. We don't have the screen that was in the concept on which you could show messages like hello or 2 middle fingers up or whatever. That's gone, which is probably a sensible thing. But we do have 2 options for a diffuser. This is the passive version. Wing is a second ACT package. Kinetic's rear diffuser, which can be seen on this Opalite white model in the efficiency package. Here, the diffuser extends or retracts by several centimeters, with the fully extended configuration working with the rear wing.
That is so ugly, bro. I'm done. Make sure you, I'm sorry for the interlude. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. We're going to get back to it. We got to get to Minneapolis. King DJ Trick says the old British accent sales pitch voice, huh? Don't fall for it, guys. Shout out to King DJ Tricks. Rush King says the issue is the proportions of the headlight and the taillights are too goofy. The old version had it shaped to the body now versus now just slap on stuff. I don't know what's wrong with it. It just looks wrong. BMW just recently dropped a new car, a new concept that they're supposed to be dropping. Hold on. And it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's called the Alpina. It's gorgeous, bro. This is what I want my cars to look like. Look at that. Look at that. Now that's a car. That's hearkening back to the old days of BMW. That's a car. Now that looks like a car to me. That doesn't look like anything weak. You know what I'm saying? That's gorgeous.
The new Vision BMW Alpina made new plans to take the Alpina brand, and the BMW is positioning
Look at that mug is sick, bro.
Alpina as something very different from its high-performance M.
Now, I will buy that. I would absolutely buy the Alpina, but I wouldn't buy that trash that they trying to sell us over there at Mercedes. Trey says the thing is that people are migrating back to buttons and knobs. That's a fact because it's cheaper and simple. Look at the new Durango sales going up and is more reliable than GM and Ford. Great pricing. Yeah, we want buttons and knobs, bro. B Hunter says, shout out to you with the super sticker. I appreciate you, B Hunter. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I don't know what Mercedes is doing right now. I don't. We got a couple different more subjects. We got to cover the mosque shooting. We got to cover Luigi Maggioni. We got to cover... I don't want to cover that one. We got to cover Ilhan Omar.
Now to the Trump administration's war on fraud, which could also come up in today's press briefing with the vice president and fraud czar, J.D. Vance. The convicted mastermind behind Minnesota's Feeding Our Future $250 million fraud scheme is set to be sentenced this week. The Justice Department wants Amy Bach to spend 50 years behind bars, saying this, that she, quote, took advantage of a once-in-a-century global pandemic. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno, here with my co-host, Kaylee McEnany, and also joining us today, Cheryl Casoni, Fox Business anchor and host of American Dream Home, Kennedy, the host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, and John Yoo, former law clerk.
Somebody says, I just seen a blue Lamborghini truck on Finkel near Grandy's. You sure nobody got your stuff? I don't have a Lamborghini truck. I don't have a Urus. I have a car. All right. And I know where it is because my daughter just sent me a picture last night of it inside of the garage. She parked it inside of the garage. This is where it is. All right. See? That's where it is. It's right next to the Hellcat, the jailbreak Hellcat, and it's also right next to the motorcycle. So, yes, I'm positive nobody has my stuff. It's right there inside of the garage, right next to the bike, right next to the Hellcat, getting some shut-eye, waiting for me to pull it out over this weekend. Yep, I'm 100% positive nobody got my stuff. All right.
For Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General and UC Berkeley law professor. Now, the mastermind's defense team says that she should get credit for handing over documents that helped convict her co-conspirators. They're hoping for about 3 years in jail. Before she was convicted, Amy Bach told Fox News that state officials like Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison.
What bike? I got a Honda CBR 1000 RR. Fireblade, baby. You don't know nothing about that.
Probably knew what was going on the whole time.
I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware, but apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything. I don't know. I have to believe they were aware. And again, if they weren't, shame on them for having a system that their lower level staff don't bring something of this level to their attention.
Listen, if you don't believe that all of them are, not only was they aware, but they were probably also benefiting from it, you have lost your mind. If you don't believe that Tim Walz, and I ain't even just going to say Tim Walz probably was just the face of it. If you don't believe that all of these governors, all of these legislators, Congress members, people that are controlling the purse strings, because y'all have to remember, listen, legislation is really a reflection of what we see happening on the federal government's level. And so I'm going to break it down for y'all. Often hidden in the woes because it's not a glorious position to be in. And this is how they have these jobs forever. Congress members have just become more visible than ever before over the last 30 years. Congress members were never the face of the federal government. They were a safeguard, right? And so Congress usually operated under the radar until they had to start advertising themselves more effectively in order to maintain and hold their seats. But Congress members traditionally have always just held their seats, and they had a forever position, but they always controlled the purse strings of America, right? Recently, you've seen Congress members speak out against the president, which gave them more precedence and it gave them more visibility to the public's eye. And so we now know who AOC is, and we now know who Ilhan Omar is, and we know who all of these people are because we have social media and they're leveraging social media. Really, what social media did was it took the veil off of everything, right? So we used to allow for manufactured promotion to drive us to our decisions. We only had a few channels, and the person that had the most money, even if you got into a situation, you were able to absolve yourself from it because PR would do their job, and you would have handlers and people that was risk mitigation and all of this stuff, and they would put out certain stories or they would change the narrative. And that's how Bill Clinton was able to get away with what he got away with. We talk about Trump, and it's so funny because they talk about Trump and they say, oh man, I don't like him or whatever. Bill Clinton was getting, I want to say what I really want to say. I'm going to keep it. I really want to say it, but I can't because I know this is a morning show. Bill Clinton was getting his stuff sucked in the White House. Let's put that in perspective for a second. Bill Clinton was going and getting head from a 3 in the White House. And nobody blinked. You know what black people said at the time? They said, oh man, that's a black president. He played the saxophone. He getting head in the White House. And then what we did was we suffered with Hillary Clinton for the next few years because he was trying to make up for the fact that he got caught getting head. Bill Clinton got head and it ain't even about getting head. He got caught. He got caught getting hit in the White House, and he was able to navigate through that because what? Because the media was more manufactured and it was more controlled. Once we got social media and it became more prolific, it did the same thing that it did to artists. It did the same thing that it did to NBA players. It did the same thing that it did to rappers. We realized, oh, these people are trash. They POS. They garbage. Right? Because they're not able to control the media to the extent that they want to as far as what social media is having a conversation about. So now we look at it, Ilhan Omar, and we say, look at this piece of garbage that allegedly married her brother, came over to the United States of America, and now is not trying to acknowledge, but yet capitalizing off of Minnesota, Minneapolis, committing fraud. Now you can have a person like Nick Shirley go out there, fly out there, do a real report, do real journalism, and they're not being manufactured by what goes on over at MSNBC or CNN, right? Now, you can have an Anton Daniels get into the thick of things and say, this is what the city really looks like. This is what it really looks like on the ground in Detroit. This is what it really looks like at the Pontiac Silverdome. This is how much I'm paying for my tickets. These are the real life experiences. This is what life is like on this front. So now social media has removed the veil that we used to pedestalize politicians, entertainers, rappers, singers, movie actors. Now we can remove the veil and we get to see them. We get to interact with them. Really, the only movie actors that we even pedestalize or have some kind of affinity for is the ones that's less visible that don't use social media. Now that we can touch you, now that we know where you're going to be at, now that we can see what your life is really like, it used to be in the tabloids. Now, it's right there on social media immediately. So we removed the veil. And our government, the way that it's set up, we have a bunch of mini governments. We got a mini government, and then we got a mini government. You have the national governors or the national government, right? In which you have the president, House of Representatives, Congress, right? We have all of these things. And now some of y'all are starting to become a little bit more familiar because you decide that you don't want to just focus on the hoes. You want to actually understand what you should have been paying attention to in high school. Take a civics class And you understand all three branches of government. They're there to protect each other. But Congress controls the purse strings, right? On a states level, it's the same thing. You have the governor, and then you have people in legislation in which the governor has to get approved a budget to ultimately distribute throughout the state, whether it be schools, roads, health care, fraud, Medicare, senior activity, getting the roads done, data centers. They are the ones that control the budget of the state. And then on an even smaller level, right, we get to see the visibility of the Brandon Johnsons, the Karen Basses, the Mom Donnies. You have the mayor, right? Because the mayor also has a city council who controls, approves projects and the purse strings of what happens on a much, much lower local level. And so all of it is a reflection of and a mimicking of our national legislation, right? And so when we have these conversations, the reason that I'm explaining this to you is it's impossible. And when I say impossible, I'm telling you that it's impossible for Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar to not know where billions of dollars are going with no checks and balances in Minneapolis. It is impossible. Impossible. Do you know how difficult it is to get a city contract? You know how difficult it is to get a state contract? Go to these city council meetings. Go to these meetings with your governor. Go to these meetings with your mayor and all of this stuff. You have to stand before the board. They make it open to the general public. You can complain and say what your grievances are, even on a very small thing. I mean, I'm talking about a sign. Hey, we have $8,000. We're trying to do this $8,000 sign to bring more visibility and to beautify this particular area. And we got bids from 3 or 4 different people. This one has this much credibility. This one has this much credibility. This one, we've done business with the city before with them. They have been doing a really good job. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think that they'll do a better job because we're not taking a risk. It won't come back to taxpayers. All of this stuff, every single thing that gets approved is all open to the public. It is required by law for them to make it open to the public and also be able to accommodate the amount of people that would want to voice displeasure or support for said projects. Small, big, street closures, water main breaks, permanent fixes, removing street lights, getting the roads done. Anything that happens with taxpayer dollars, it is all public information and it is all open to public consumption. So if these approvals on a $1 million level, let alone a multi-billion-dollar level, is being approved on a state level, on a local level, all the way down to Minneapolis, all the way up to Tim Walz's office, is no way in hell. No way. Why do you think that he pulled out from being able to run for governor again? It wasn't something like an outcry was starting. He pulled out immediately. The minute that this hit the airwaves and Nick Shirley started showing up in Minneapolis, Tim Walz said, I'm not even going to run for governor no more. I don't even want to be bothered with this. I don't even want to be bothered. He didn't wait for outcry. He didn't wait for people. He didn't wait for the poll numbers. He said, I'm not running for governor no more. I'm done. He immediately pulled out. How are you going to tell me that it has all? That is how the government is set up. It is set up for checks and balances, and then it's supposed to be audited after money is distributed. It is supposed to be that it goes through at least 2 to 3, right? That's why it goes through Congress. That's why it goes up to the president's office. That's why it goes to your state legislator. That's why it then goes up to the governor. He proposes a budget. He looks at what the previous year did, and then they go through and they say, all right, so listen, this is what I want. This is what you want. This is what we want to be changed. We just seen J.B. Pritzker talking about Brandon Johnson and when they propose the budget versus when they approve the budget and all of the different legislative branches that it has to go through before they approve it and say, you know what, this is going to be the fiscal budget for this year, 25, 26, 26, 27, whatever. It has to go through all of these checks and balances and approval. That's why we have these places. That's why we don't have kings. That's why we don't have authoritarianism like they try to promote to you in the general public. We don't have that because we have checks and balances to prevent things from happening. So how are you going to tell me? She's saying that they knew. How are you going to tell me that they didn't know? How wouldn't they know? How wouldn't they know? billions of dollars coming from taxpayers and you have no checks and balances whatsoever, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing ever at all. You don't have a clue of what's going on. And that's the truth, Abe the Hunter. That's the first thing that I agree with you in months. Everybody is stealing. Everybody got their hands in a cookie jar. Everybody is getting an oatmeal cookie, oatmeal raisin cookie. They getting chocolate chip. They got macadamian. They got all kind of cookies in there, and everybody is getting paid, and everybody is stealing. Everybody getting money. Everybody getting money. Everybody getting money. You got a daycare. I got some money for you. Get some money. You got a daycare. Yeah. You got a home health care facility. Yeah. You are training people with English that come from other countries. Yep. We got money for you. Money for you. Everybody getting money. Everybody getting the bag. Y'all see all of these people riding around in the daytime with no job, and you trying to figure out, man, what is they doing for a living over there? Man, they getting money with the government. You ever been to Atlanta? You ever been to Atlanta in the daytime? Let me tell you something about Atlanta in the daytime. Shout out to all of my Atlanteans out here. I went to Atlanta, and I said, the first time I ever went to Atlanta, I said, does anybody have a job? It's the middle of the daytime. It's not even lunchtime. And the roads are locked up. It's gridlocked. And I don't see nobody with no business clothes on or anything like that. Who working? Y'all ever been to Los Angeles in the middle of the daytime? Not going to work, not coming from work. You the suckers. We're the suckers, right? We're the suckers because we've been playing by the rules. And I ain't even talking about what's legal. I ain't talking about that. We've been playing by the rules that they set forth for you to prevent you from really understanding how the game works because you don't understand the game, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, you don't know the game that's being played, Mr. Williams. You don't get it. You don't get it. And because you don't get it, you're going to be the first to the slaughter. You want me to tell you the game? All right, I'm going to tell you the game in 1 second.
Now, Bach has also implicated Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, whose name appeared in emails and texts during her trial. Bach tells the New York Post that she, quote, struggles to believe that Omar didn't know what was happening in her district. She told Fox something similar.
I don't know what she knew. I don't know. I know that I was duped by a number of people. We also have seen videos of Safari Restaurant giving out thousands of meals, pallets and pallets of food being distributed. Was there fraud? According to the DOJ and the FBI, yes. According to the jury verdict, yes. But how much? And why don't we know that? There's just so many holes and gaps in these cases. Ilhan Omar visited those sites. Why didn't the FBI?
John, I feel like rarely do
you want to know why? You don't want to know why there's so many holes and gaps? Because we have so many different versions of Clay Davis running around in government, and we need a clean slate. The biggest fight that you'll ever experience as a people, and this is where the real fight comes. The fight isn't over inflation. The fight isn't over the economy. The fight isn't over Iran. The fight isn't over Epstein files. The fight isn't over Ebola. The fight isn't over COVID. It's not over the hantavirus. It's not over any of that. You're all missing the boat. The biggest fight that you will ever experience if you were to ever mobilize, it ain't on TikTok. It ain't on none of this stuff. You know where the biggest fight is ever going to be? It's always going to be fraud within the government. Always. Because there is always going to be people that will have holes and fights. And I believe that if you ever dig deep enough, then they are going to start trying to eliminate you. And you will never even be able to dig that far. Unless there is a public outcry of people that want the government audited. Did you see how bad they prevented the Department of Government Efficiency from auditing the federal government? Do you see how much they protested against that? If you want to know what control looks like, I don't think it has nothing to do with Israel. I think it has everything to do with where the money going inside of. According to the U.S. Treasury, federal government operates with an annual budget exceeding $7 trillion. Not million, not billion, annually, minimally $7 trillion annually. Trillion. Who, what, when, where, why, and how doesn't have an auditing somewhere, somehow, to where you have to have an agency dedicated to making sure that, bro, when I was working at the University of Michigan, I remember they sent me on a trip to Nashville, right? The university sent me on a trip to Nashville, and so I went over to a conference in Nashville, and I stayed at the Gaylord Opryland. Bro, do you know how stringent they were about every single receipt, every single place that I stayed at, any additional costs, any approval, what I had to spend my own money on, what they gave me a stipend for? They were sticklers. This is what your receipt got to be like. This is what this got to be like. This is what this got to be like. This is what the budget is. So they were all over you. They played no games. And this is one of the biggest, most prestigious universities in the United States of America. This is where the play is. Listen, stop being ignorant. Stop being distracted by things that don't matter. Where to play, whenever you want to figure out what the hell is going on, you have to look to where the money is going. It has nothing to, listen, all of your little propaganda, wars, genocide, weapons of mass destruction, all of this. Man, listen, bro, it all comes down to this. Even the whole war going back and forth with China, Russia, Iran, or whatever, it ain't got nothing to do with that, man. The number one reason is always going to be the dollar. It's always going to be the dollar. It's always going to be the dollar. Always. Always. Money is always going to be this. The only reason that this lady right here, is going down, it's because there got to be somebody to take the L. It's got to be somebody to take the L, bro. Somebody got to take that L. Somebody got to go down. Somebody got to get the football numbers. It's always going to be one. When we had the government fraud, the banks, run on the banks, housing crisis in 2008, one banker went to jail. One banker. Trillions of dollars lost. One banker took a L. One. Somebody got to take the L. Somebody got to take the L. Hey, listen, be quiet. Who's going to take the L? Who's going to be the fall guy? It's got to be somebody to take the L. It's got to be. If you think that these people are in office and they don't know what's going on, you're crazy. Why do you think that they believe so heavily? You think that Chicago, New York, Denver, Houston, Los Angeles, that they believed in illegal migrants? Think about it. The blackety-black, mohawk-wearing former school teacher, don't have a clue on even how to keep the Chicago Bears, yet billions of dollars were spent on illegal migrants inside of Chicago. You think that they just cared about people, or do you think that it was some kind of incentive that was promised to them and not delivered, which was one of the reasons why the New York mayor switched on the Biden administration? Then the Biden administration retaliated against the New York mayor, Eric Adams. He played ball, he smiled, he stood there and he said, Hercules, Hercules, as all of the illegal migrants was getting off the bus and coming to New York. Then all of a sudden, he wasn't getting no checks from the federal government. He said, man, I don't really rock with y'all no more. Next thing you know, they came after him with all kind of charges. They was charging the people that was around him. They was charging aides and assistants. They was pulling phones. They had the FBI, the Biden administration. He wasn't as visible as Trump. Trump do it overtly. Biden and them did it behind us. They just was quiet about it. They never even invited him to the Democratic National Convention for New York. Next thing you know, they start talking about, oh man, you overlooked approvals for the fire department for people in Turkey. He was like, what? He's like, what the? He said, what you talking about Turkey? I ain't never even been to Turkey. Eric Adams started coming under fire because he wasn't playing ball no more. I believe that they're very intentional. I believe that they have stuff on every last, even the content creators. I think that they know who is who and what is what, and they pay attention to content creators because I 1000% believe that they've dug up every single one of our backgrounds, figured out where all of the dirt is, figured out what the problem is, where they can use leverage, and if you get too big or you get too far out of line, you can pull that coattail a little bit. Hey, hold on. Give me a second, big dog. What you doing? Huh? What? Digging a little deep. Dig a little deep. Let's undeep it. Let's undeep it. Let's keep it shallow on the water. Okay. Got a little piece over there. Little piece over there. You get your little prize money. Let me give you a bigger job. Let me give you some visibility. And you might want to be a little bit more quiet. Because we may not get you now, but we'll definitely talk to you later. Come here. Hey, what you got going on over there? Absolutely. Every company watches. They all familiar. You can't do between 50 and 100 million views a month and think that people are not paying attention. Oh, they pay attention to everything. Absolutely. That's why 100% they pay attention to everything. They want to know what's going on. Absolutely, they want to know what's going on. Hey, big dog, what you got going on over there? Let me talk to you for a second. Of course, Ilhan Omar knew what was going on. Of course, Tim Walz know what's going on. Of course, they all do. They know what's going on. It's not a secret. It's all in the open. It's right there for you. Now, you get a little bit too big to your britches. Let me talk to you for a second. H2Co says, what do you think about cars that have certain features already available but require a subscription to activate? That's been going on forever. Y'all just now seeing it. For example, that's always been in Teslas. If you want full FSD, if you want certain features or whatever, then it's already built into the vehicle. All we got to do is subscribe to it and then it unlocks it. All of the vehicles are already built with all of the features, but the software is what prevents you from being able to unlock it. I don't care. Like you said, what do I think about cars that have it? I think that they should be able to capitalize, and it's enough competition out here for you to pick the vehicle that you don't want to do business with and the vehicles that you do want to do business with. The business of cars
car and the insurance gonna be like $260
Is that bad or is that good? If you got the funds, if the money funded, you know.
So she said, she asks a question. She said, do you think that a $700 a month car note with so basically you're gonna have a $1,000 car note, and you also gonna have maintenance, and you also gonna have gas costs, right? And then whatever cost it takes to clean the car. All right. Earlier today, I said to you guys that here, let me just scroll through random videos about car notes.
I am officially debt-free with credit cards. I paid off all 5 of my credit cards and I am feeling very good. I'm on a journey to financial freedom. I'm 31 years old. I want to build my wealth, build my income, all that good stuff. And yesterday, I decided to make all my payments on my credit cards so that they could be at zero. This is just an update on my journey to financial freedom. Right now, we are working on debt. The next thing is to pay off my car. My car has 2 more car payments until it's paid off. My goal is to also pay off my car.
Nice.
Man, y'all better leave these car notes alone, man. I just saw somebody run out of gas in a brand new Benz, man. Like, I don't understand it. How you driving a brand new luxury car like that and running out of gas?
Now let's have a conversation, right?
Man, y'all better leave these car notes alone.
I am officially debt-free.
Let's have a conversation real quick. I believe personally, and I've always believed this. Yes, I have a jailbreak Hellcat. I'm gonna read that super chat shortly. I believe that cars are a luxury item, not a necessity. Hear me out. Let's talk about it for a second. This is why I need a 4-hour show. I believe that cars are a luxury item. Cars and trucks, personal vehicles are luxuries. They should not be looked at as necessities. I'm just looking at what y'all saying inside of the chat. Somebody said, what if you were in a state with no public transportation? Every single state has public transportation. Tiff says you need a car in certain areas. Well, then you shouldn't be living in certain areas that you don't need a car. You moving to an area that requires you to have a car is a luxury. That is not a necessity. That is where you want to live. That is not where you can afford to live if you live in an area where you need a car, but you can't afford to do both. That is a luxury. Moving out to the suburbs were always considered luxury. It wasn't considered a requirement. It wasn't considered you just owed this. None of that stuff was ever considered a luxury. As a matter of fact, let me speak specifically to Black people. Black people didn't live in the suburbs. Black people lived, worked, and played all in the same areas and whatever their respective cities were. Moving out was an opportunity for you to go to better schools, for you to, commute because you had the ability to commute. You wanted to do this, you wanted to do that, you wanted to expand your lawn, you wanted to get the white picket fence, but that is not what the standard used to be. The standard used to be that you live, work, and played all in the same area, and you lived where you can also easily be able to access and get to wherever it is that you needed to work, whether it was walking or whether it was public transportation. It was not considered a requirement. As a matter of fact, it's only within the last 50 to 60 years that most people, remember, there's people still alive today that existed at a time where most families didn't even have a car. They had one car if they did get a car. They had one car if they did get a car. It was not normal for people to just walk around and every single person inside of the house. Daddy got a car, mama got a car, daughter got a car, son got a car, 4 different cars in the driveway, plus you got a project car inside of the garage that he likes to work on, and we go out. That wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. And so because, see, I've been studying and looking at all of our cultural norms back from the 50s and the 40s and the 60s and the 70s. And so now that I'm starting to be reminded of what it was like before I was born and at the time that I was born, I'm starting to rethink what we look at as requirements. We've made that a requirement because it's normalized inside of our culture. But when we talk about $700 car notes, $300 in insurance, $5 in gas, all of these things, and the bus is less than $2 to get to and from, and you can get a transfer for 50 cents. I rode public transportation for free to my studio right now. I took the People Mover, went around there, got on at Montcalm, jumped on the queue line, got dropped off literally right in front of my studio, walked in with my book bag, and started streaming. For free. For free. Public transportation was established so that they can then create an opportunity for people that didn't live close to wherever it is that they work. You couldn't walk to work. And so it was an opportunity for you to be able to live wherever you wanted to live within the city, but still have access to your job. I believe, and again, this is my belief, I believe that everybody can believe whatever they want to believe. I believe that having a vehicle in general, y'all expect to have, where is all of the parking? Where is this? Where is that? That's not normal. That was never normal. Cities were not planned for and developed for mass cars to be able to come in during an event, 30,000, 40,000 people to all drive into the event at the same time and everybody be able to have reasonable parking. That's not how the city was. That's not how any major city was designed. That's not how the city planners looked at it. Technology then gave y'all what y'all thought was normal. And so now you're expecting all of the things that we're doing is abnormal. Group economics was supposed to be a thing. Everybody wasn't supposed to be able to move out of the house at 18 years old. But what did? We remixed the game. We then made college avenue, a gateway for us to get away from the house so that we can feel grown. We took on a bunch of student loans as a result of it. Now your car note and your student loans factor into how much money you have left at the end of the month to be able to do the things that you want to do. Your lifestyle is based off of something that was manufactured for you to keep you in debt, to keep you working, to keep you running on the treadmill because you have no rest because you're so busy playing keep up with the Joneses on stuff that you don't even understand that was marketed to you and given to you instead of you making a decision for yourself. You believe that you deserve a car. You believe that you deserve to go to school after high school. You believe this. You believe it. You believe that you deserve to be able to purchase a home. This is marketed to you. Banks made up the 30-year mortgage and then let it circulate amongst people. And then they told you, hey, you're going to build generational wealth as a result of it. And so you fell hook, line, and sinker because the prices of homes was going up because the economy was being manufactured, which is one of the reasons why the banks collapsed in 2008. And so you fell into the trap instead of trying to figure out how you can live a reasonable, comfortable life. Now, let me tell you what else. Let me tell you what the real ooh-wop shebang is. She bangs. She bangs. Then they told women, hey, y'all got the freedom to do what you want to do. You know what you did? You signed up to be a slave. You signed up to work your ass off for the things that men have largely always told you that wasn't best for you. And so you made yourself a wage slave, and then you gave yourself a lifestyle based off of what was manufactured for you so that you stay working. That's how they kept the American people working, is that they gave them stuff to finance. They knew you had to pay it off, and in order to sustain it, you had to go back to work. You can't even raise your children the right way because you're so busy trying to impress people that don't even care nothing about you. That was the real play. And they never had to put you in chains or shackles in order to do so. They just gave you the illusion of freedom, and you fell hook, line, and sinker and gave your kids away to the state and got rid of your family, got rid of your household, and you fell right into the trap and left your femininity, and now you fighting for your life. You fighting for your life because you fell for the marketing subconsciously, and now you on TikTok talking about, I don't know how much a livable wage is. Gas is $5. I don't even know no woman in my life that even know how much gas is because they just go to the gas station. You got finessed. You got finessed. None of this stuff that we see out here in these streets, not these phones, not these devices, not these cars, not the subscription models, not Netflix, not any of this stuff is supposed to be considered anything other than a luxury item. And just because it don't feel luxury because we're so used to it does not mean that it's not supposed to be a luxury item. Because everybody got one and don't feel luxury no more. So if you ever wanted to reset and figure out how to get your life together and get from under the thumb of this whole working class society that is designed to keep you a wage slave, all you got to do, the first step you got to do is just cut it off. You know what? The best thing that ever happened to me in my life, was going broke in 2008. I realized that all of the things that I was working for and that I was paying for, I didn't even need it. I purchased the car cash at the auction. That was the Cadillac STS. Purchased the car cash, right? I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm going to be so real with you. Bro, I don't even think I had insurance on that joint. I was just going. I don't remember having insurance on that car. The only time I got insurance was 2 weeks before I had to renew the tags on that joint. And then I canceled it the minute that I got my insurance. Man, I ain't paying no insurance for this car. Keeping it 100 with you. Because I knew that the Secretary of State would be able to go into the system and find out if I really had insurance. I wasn't willing to go to jail for nobody. So I went and got it 2 weeks before the car. Got my insurance. You had to pay for a month. Whatever it was, I got my refund. The day after I got my tags, I canceled that junk and I was rolling. They see me rolling. They hate it. Gone. Cancel everything. Bro, the only reason I survived is that I moved back into group economics, moved back into my parents' house, and I I didn't have an expense to save my life. I didn't even have a I had a prepaid phone. I would not even get a cell phone bill. I had a prepaid phone. You know what having a prepaid phone did for me? It made sure that the only conversations that mattered was the ones that you had to text me on Wi-Fi and tell me what the call was before I picked it up. That's an honest to God truth. I will see it. I know. Listen, man, I only got 19 minutes left. Man, you're not about to waste my minute. And here's the thing about prepaid minutes. Let's say you go over 1 minute or 2 minutes. That's a second minute. So anything you got to say to me, you got to say it within 45 seconds. What's going on? Not what you need? No. Okay. All right. Tell them to go ahead and take care of it. I'll be there in a minute. Bye-bye. I was off. That's a lot of people ask me, Slimmy and them, they always makes jokes. Slimmy, Molly, QD, they say, you don't even like to talk on the phone. You hate talking on the phone. That's because I trained myself to get out what I needed to get out and to not talk on the phone because it was minutes. Minutes was money. I'm giving you, bro, I'm telling you the reason why I am the way that I am today. Minutes were money. And if I went over 1 or 2 seconds, I lost another minute. And so I learned the value of time. And you had to let me know what the phone call was going to be before I answered it. Otherwise, I felt like I could answer it and I'm going to just talk to you. My phone was for emergencies only. My phone was for emergency money. Emergency only. You want to know? You want to know? Oh man, all right, let's get into it, y'all. Y'all really wanted it? Y'all want to get there? Come on, I'm gonna give you the game. I'm gonna give you the game. You know how I learned how to maintain a relationship? I'm gonna go into the next conversation in a minute. We're gonna get to the next thing. You want to know how I learned how to maintain a relationship? Nigga, I didn't have no money to talk to no hoes. What you mean? To cultivate a relationship. Talk to you on the phone? What? Look at my minutes. I don't have time to talk to nobody. I don't have the I don't have access. I cut off all access to anything that wasn't money related. If it wasn't going to get another job, if it wasn't going to get sales, if it wasn't a phone call in order to follow up on a sales deal that I had going on, I didn't have capacity to talk to anybody. Hey, what's up? Oh man, you looking good, but I got to get going. Oh, wait, it's a recession out here. I can't talk to you because I ain't got no minutes. So I learned to love and cherish the thing that I already had. You know what? I already got in-house box. I ain't dealing with that. I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for this. You think I'm about to be wasting my minutes on you? I don't have minutes to waste. I got to go get this money. I ain't got no gas to waste. I can't take you out. I don't have no capacity for it. First of all, I ain't got no time. Secondly, I ain't got no money for that. I got to invest. I got to do this deal. I'm trying to get this company off the ground. I'm trying to pay this. I'm working overnight at Home Depot stocking shelves to get extra money. I don't got time for you. That's why I say cut it all off. You want to get rich? If you want to get rich, cut it all off. Cut off everything. You will learn that there is very few things in this world that you need. That your money will explode. It will blow up. And then all you got to do is make the right decisions from there on out. All right, you know what? I'm putting my money in stocks. I'm going to act like I'm still broke. I was still acting like I was still broke. I was already rich. I was still acting broke. I'm going to put my money in stocks. I'm going to put my money in real estate. I'm putting my money back into this business, all of this other stuff. That's why I say having multiple different, that's a rich man's game. The reason why it's a rich man's game is not that you don't have access to the women, because they go on regardless of whether you got money or not. The reason that it's a rich man's game, all of these bevy of women and stuff like that, that's a rich man's game, because I think you too poor. I was too poor to even entertain even having other people in my space, because I had too much stuff to do. I got too much money to get. I got too much to cut out. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the minutes. I don't have nothing for you. I don't got nothing for you. And when I leave right now, I'm never going to see you again. So what you want to do? It ain't about whether you got it or not. It's that you too poor. If you're not rich, you're too poor to be entertaining us. Everything. Hoes, cars, hanging out, all of it, driving too far, moving out to the suburbs. I personally, you can do what you want to do. I'm going to tell you what my mentality was that eventually gave me that hunger, that grind, that drive to focus all of my energy on getting to the money. I felt like I don't have no time. I'm too poor. That's a luxury item. All of this extra box, luxury. Cars, luxury. Car notes, luxury. Going to jail, luxury. That's for people that ain't got to go to work in the morning. That's a luxury. Hear what I'm saying. Tickets, speeding, running red lights, going to jail, those are all luxury items in my opinion, because that is for people that don't really know the value of their time, and they don't got to go to work in the morning. You ain't worried about getting fired. All of these are luxury items to me. What's not luxury? Public transportation, going to work, focusing on your business, minimizing expenses, practicing group economics, and getting to the bag. Rush King says car is not a luxury. Okay. You just missed the whole point. You missed the whole point. You missed the whole point. The whole point. A car is a luxury item. It is. It is. Just because we've normalized it don't mean that it's not a luxury. You want to prevent yourself from always having boxelitis, from always getting caught up with these hoes, get rid of your car. Start taking public transportation, because then you got a plan to get over there. You know what? She ain't checking for me. I got to catch the bus over there. I'm going to go ahead and go to work. I got a second job anyway. Man, I don't need no box anyway, bro. Man, I'm going to work, bro. If you want to cut it off, get rid of all of the distractions. Get rid of the distractions. Or you can listen. All right. Last thing I'm going to say, and we're going to move on to the next part of the show. You've been doing it. Jail is a luxury because you got to have bail money. You got to go get a lawyer, all of this type of stuff. That's stuff that people that got money can afford to do. How old are you? How old are you? You ain't got to say it out loud. Let's just talk. You're 25, 28, 31, 34, 37, 40, 44, 47, 50, 55, 63, 72. You've been doing this thing your way your entire life, and you're still in debt, which means that you're poor. Maybe you want to do it a little bit differently. Maybe you should listen this time. You've done it your whole life your way, and it hasn't worked out for you. Maybe you should listen. Maybe you should think about it a little bit differently. Your way hasn't worked for 30, 40 years. It hasn't worked. I'm telling you that you have to do something different if you want something different. You can't outwork your way through it. You can't save your way to it. You can't out-hoe your way to it. It's a different way. You got to try something different if you want different results, bro. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. I'm going to preach to y'all today. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. You are not supposed to be living in a luxury place if you don't have the money to do so. Listen, if you are complaining about gas prices, then you are living a luxury lifestyle. You are not supposed to be living where you are. Now, you can get mad at it. You can complain about it. You can say you deserve it. You can say your kids go there. That's all choices. If you are complaining about gas prices, then you are living a luxury lifestyle that you cannot afford to live, is what I'm saying. I don't care about your commute. I don't care about any of that type of stuff. Anytime I knew that I was supposed to work close to a place and that it would be better for me, I moved. I don't know why y'all want me to understand your circumstances. Life don't care about your circumstances. For whatever reason, y'all have to understand that nobody cares about your situation. Make adjustments. Oh, man, but I'm going to then move. Or keep on being broke and complaining about gas prices. Do something about it. That's what I'm telling you. Life don't care. It's going to move on with you or without you. Nobody cares about your circumstances. Change it. Change your mindset, then you change your bank account, then you change your circumstances. But what about my situation? I don't care about your situation. Care what you got to do. I don't care if you got to go and get a scooter. I don't care if you riding in the rain. I had one time that my window wouldn't roll all the way up. I just was riding the car like this because I still had to get to work. I just had to ride. This whole side of the car, that side of the leather, was weathered a little bit more once the car was getting ready to go. I still got to get to work. Praying for more sunny days. God, make it sunny today. So my car not wet by the time I get out of work. What you talking about? All right, let me read some of these super chats. Code, H2 Code says, what do you, oh yeah, see, you done took me on a whole rant. That's why I need a 4-hour show. Chris Cunningham says, are you going to put a lift in your garage for the lamb? Nope. Just buy more property, build a bigger garage. See, that's when you know you're rich. No, I'm gonna just build a bigger garage. Forget all of that. I want to look at them all. Courtney Yeager says, "What's the word, AD fam? I think my email's going to the shadow realm. Trying to get this updated coaching call to spam folder. Eating good right now. Shout out. No, it's not. It's not. I'm telling you, we get into it. It's just been a lot. I didn't coach for a long time. I took a long time off, so I got a lot of making up to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of making up to do. Anthony Weston says, you got a jailbreak Hellcat that's more impressive than the Lamb. You think so? I don't know about that. And my Hellcat, I don't think it even got 2,000 miles on it. I don't think it got 2,000 miles on it. 2023 jailbreak Hellcat, less than 2,000 miles on it, and it's been babied. I mean, I push it, but, you know. It's been babied for the most part because I have never really gotten a chance to drive it as much. Chris Cunningham says we are in a 360 deal with everything. That's a fact. That's a fact, though. Chris Cunningham says, so if I hear you correctly, should I send my wife and kids to her sister so I can? I don't know. I don't know what your circumstance is. No, I will tell you that it's much harder to climb the mountain when you got rocks in your backpack, and people are rocks. So if you got other people, Chris Cunningham, I'll say one of my biggest problems today, amongst many, but one of my biggest problems today is, it's not a problem, but it's a problem for me because of my lifestyle, is having people in my life. Because everybody want to spend time with you. And so for me, I might say, well, I want to lock in for 16 hours in a studio. And then somebody's going to say, well, can I come by the studio and visit you? And I'm going to say, yeah, I guess you can come by the studio and visit me. And then they're going to say, can we spend some time? Can we go out to eat? And I'm supposed to be locked in, right? But I'm going to accommodate because, you know, I want to be a good person and I want to have good relationships. And so, you know, you make adjustments and you change things and you move stuff around. And so it's a lot more difficult, I think, to build and to be successful when you have other people. That's why I tell guys a lot of times that if you don't have a girl, stop being in a rush to do it and you should be getting rich. It's no reason why you shouldn't be getting richer and wealthier if you single. It's no reason why you shouldn't get richer and wealthier if you're single. Because women are a luxury, in my opinion. And having children is a luxury, in my opinion, because you have to make sacrifices to ensure that you nurture those relationships. Long Way ENT says public transportation adds hours to your workday. I couldn't imagine getting to the city for where I live on a public transportation. I have to be to work by 5 a.m. I work on the train. I have my AirPods in. And I don't wear the big ones over ear because I still want to be, you know, interactive with the people. But I have my AirPods in and I'm usually editing videos or I'm producing the show. I'll use my phone a lot of times as a hotspot. And the same thing that I would be doing sitting at home, I'm actually doing it on the queue line, or I'm doing it on the people mover. And a lot of times I'm working while I'm on the train. So I don't know what that looks like for y'all. Everybody got to do what they got to do. Super Mario says, AD, where's the video of how to negotiate your pay package? It says it's no longer available. Re-upload, please. All right, I got you. I got you. I got you. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's see. I got time for at least one more. Trying to figure out which one I want to go with.
Mom, that lady said something on Brian Thompson. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I want to say. Brian Thompson, mom. That lady said something on Inside Edition. I said what I said. I don't give a fuck.
His children are better off without him. They need to learn to not be like their dad and enjoy the blood money, kids.
So what you are looking at right now, what you are seeing are 3 different women that got press passes for the trial for the Luigi Margione guy that wound up killing the executive of the pharma company, or the insurance company. I forgot which one it was. But the Luigi guy is now on trial, and these are fans. These are women that are infatuated with him, that loves what he did. They like the fact that he killed the executive, and they were able to apply to get press passes. And so these women have now become groupies. Yeah, United Healthcare, shout out to you. They have now become groupies, and they are telling you that they think that the executives' kids don't deserve anything, that they're better off without their father, that the wife of this executive, she doesn't matter. And so this is what they're talking about to the public and to the press, because they also can sit in and cheer for him during his trial. Crazy. Now, for all of us, let me replay it for y'all again. Hey, fangirls, they're saying that his children are better without him.
That's all I want to say. Brian Thompson, his mom, that lady who said something on Inside Edition.
They said F his mother.
I said what I said. I don't give a fuck.
His children are better off without him. They need to learn to not be like their dad and enjoy the blood money, kids.
I'm standing on business. Brian Thompson. I don't give a fuck. He died. Millions of Americans.
I liked it. Brian Thompson was a terrorist, and more people should acknowledge.
And here's the thing. Not the one that's in the that's talking right now with the green and the purple on and stuff, but the other 2, they're not even bad looking. One in the middle is thick. The other one is cute. They're not even bad looking. And these women are sitting here. Listen, y'all. We got to mind this out. They not even bad looking, but they effed up here. They effed up here. Now, do y'all know why I say that liberals and these type of women are fun time? They're not ones that y'all want to take home to mama. It's not anything that you probably want to marry, but definitely a good time. Definitely a good time. Now, do y'all understand why I say it's a hoot hollering of a good time to interact and be in a situation with somebody that's a little bit extra? That's why I said it. This is why I said it. This right here is the reason why I said it. Is because they not always all the way there. There you go, Omar. There you go, Omar. This is why a lot of guys say recreational use only, because you may be cute, you may get a good time, you may get guys, but it don't mean that we want to be with you long time because you crazy. Because you crazy. You know, green shirt, shirt blow bubbles for sure.
This and be appropriate. You should be dancing on the graves of the people who profit off killing you. That's completely called for, and precedented and normal. This has gone on for too long. This should have happened decades.
This is true, goddess.
And this is long overdue. I have been waiting for someone like this mysterious hero to appear. He answers my prayers.
Millions of Americans suffer every single day from the lack of healthcare. We had a literal infant, baby Stella, who, because of how negligent her health insurance was, she died. An infant died. So if you guys are okay with someone like Brian Thompson being around and that being a part of our society, that says more about you as a person, because you look absolutely monstrous defending someone like that who participates in social murder. That's what we think of mass social murder.
He's responsible for more deaths than Osama bin Laden. And I remember Americans celebrating when Osama bin Laden was killed. It's not like we don't understand heroic violence or like when violence is good. There's like, that's like, as America gets.
I mean, why do we protect the Second Amendment so much? Is it to allow people to shoot up?
What up, Rios?
Is it for us to protect our democracy? I think it is to protect our democracy. I'm not saying, we should all take up arms, but when your democracy is eroded and there's no other option, like what are we meant to do? What are we?
This is why a lot of times guys today is realizing, and why a lot of guys are saying that they don't even want women in leadership positions or to even be selecting who the president of the United States of America is. They can't deal with it. Even Mom Donnie, I heard, is saying that he wants to change the press credential criteria in New York as a result of seeing this.
After 3 supporters of accused killer Luigi Mangione made inflammatory and highly controversial comments outside court.
The 3 women all had city-issued press badges that got them special seating inside the courtroom. Political reporter Marsha Kramer joins us now with more on what this is all about, Marsha.
Shout out to Marsha. Marsha Kramer is apparently a legend over in New York. She talk like this. We love Marsha. Marsha's voice is legendary, and if we don't see Marsha, and I'm not dissing Marsha, I'm just saying this is how she speaks. We don't see Marsha's voice. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So I interviewed Mom Donnie, and he said, I haven't seen this interview. I haven't seen this clip yet. He said that he wants to change the press credentials of how people are able to get press credentials in New York City. Take a look. Is that how Marsha gonna talk on this one? Let me see.
Okay, Jay and Jess. The issuing of press credentials has often been a touchy subject. 18 years ago, a civil liberty...
I remember the first time I ever heard Marsha, I was like, what is going on here? The first time I heard Marsha, I was like, Marsha is crazy. But then I realized that the people in New York, y'all been dealing with this for a long time. Shout out to the people in New York. Y'all got some crazy stuff happening over in New York. Y'all got some crazy things happening in New York. When we first visited this, we wanted to make sure that everything was exactly what we wanted it to be. This is what y'all dealing with in New York.
His lawyers sued the city on behalf of 3 online journalists to broaden who the city certifies. What's unusual is that as a mayor who has welcomed social media influencers to City Hall, thought the comments were so inappropriate, he's considering pulling the women's badges.
Those 3 individuals should not have received press passes.
Mayor Mamdani ordering a review of actions taken by the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment in issuing press credentials to 3 self-described Mangionistas, supporters of Luigi Mangione, the man accused of killing United Healthcare executive Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson was a terrorist.
My administration is reviewing the entire process and the standards for press credentialing. And what I will say is there is a good-natured debate to be had about where a press pass should extend and where it shouldn't. However, the 3 people that we are talking about don't fall within that debate.
The 3 supporters of the accused gunman have used their press credentials to get into court proceedings. After a hearing Monday, they vigorously defended Mangione and made lengthy derogatory remarks about Thompson.
He's responsible for more deaths than Osama bin Laden. And I remember Americans celebrating when Osama bin Laden was killed. It's not like we don't understand heroic violence or like...
Yeah, she definitely wild in the bedroom.
Violence is good.
The civil liberties lawyer Norman Siegel, who successfully sued the Bloomberg administration to win press credentials for 3 online journalists, agrees that there should be a review of the credentialing process.
Those comments were despicable, but that should not eliminate them per se, but set up a hearing and give them due process and then make a determination of whether or not their press credentials should be temporarily suspended or not.
Will you be appointing a committee that will set up guidelines, and will it include actual journalists on the committee? Will it include government officials?
At this point, it is still within the mayor's office of media and entertainment.
Somebody said, that's what you think about? Listen, I didn't make the rules. Y'all always getting mad at me for addressing the rules that we're all playing by. I didn't make the rules. All I do is play the game, baby. It's a fact. This isn't even my opinion. It's a fact. Women that are crazy liberals, in general, on average, are a fun time. It's not my rule. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the game, baby.
That's where we're going to conduct that review to make sure we actually put together that process, and it's one that is actually reckoning with all of these different changing dynamics of the news environment.
Now, Norman Siegel told me he thinks the mayor should set up an independent committee. David Cruz, president of the New York Press Club, supported the review, pointing out that the organization has members and officers, people he called established journalists.
We got to stop, honestly, we have to stop giving these people access and allowing for them to disrespect the court system and all of that stuff. For these 3 crazy chicks to get press passes, this don't even make sense. Americans for Civil Liberties, this is not a violation of your civil liberties. They're not press. Are they YouTubers? Are they vloggers? Do they work for a credentialed company? Bro, do you even have a blue check mark? You're not press. You should not be allowed to go into these environments, into these situations, to view what's happening at the trial. Rules is the rules. What you talking about? Like, why are we defending? Yeah, the one in the middle. Yeah, I agree. See, I told you, I'm not the one making the rules. The people that's in the chat are the ones that are of the culture, and they are making the rules. All I do is observe and report. Observe, report. Observe, report, and give my opinion. I just observe and report.
I don't like saying that. Luigi psychosis.
Yeah, they and then they not even bad looking. That's the worst about it. Does that make y'all feel bad sometimes though? Does that make y'all feel bad to know that these women right here are showing up to court dressed up, put together, ankle bracelets on, that they're showing up to court to support and hold down a man that killed somebody, but some of y'all can't even find somebody that's going to even hold you down in the kitchen. That's got to be crazy to think about, that there's guys out here that saying, man, I'm looking for a good woman, and these chicks is showing up to court with press passes to make sure that they support a killer and dressing up and looking halfway decent to do so, and willing to put their whole visibility, knowing that they're going to go viral. They father probably watching, they mama's probably watching, they church probably watched. Man, that's crazy, bro.
Luigi mania sounds like Taylor Swift. Luigi psychosis today in New York City. In particular, a trio of bloodthirsty women, big fans of Luigi Mangione, and somehow granted press passes by City Hall. Here they are camped out outside the courthouse. Now, why? The backdrop for their appearance today was an evidence suppression hearing for the accused United Healthcare CEO killer. during which the judge handed prosecutors a pretty big victory in granting Luigi Mangione's bid to suppress some of the evidence at his murder trial. Here's what the judge had to say. The evidence found during the search of the backpack at McDonald's must be suppressed. That included the magazine, cell phone, passport, wallet, and computer chip. But all the evidence gathered at the police station is still admissible, and that includes the 3D printed gun.
You know what's so interesting? I think that this happened maybe like a couple years ago. It had to be at least a couple years ago that this story broke, and this whole situation. It may have been even more than a couple years ago. It's funny how time flies, bro. Crazy how time flies. I think that people are crazy. I think that they're insane. And this story right here is an exemplification of that. It's an exemplification of it. It shows you how insane people really are. And you know what else it shows you? That unless you have crazy women doing stuff like this, you will be forgotten because nobody even cares anymore. All of the fake outrage, those same people are on TikTok making the same videos about whatever the next conversation is, and everybody has forgotten about you until you can get some sluts to go out there and embarrass themselves to bring more visibility to your case. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Shout out to Wesley Turner. Wesley Turner says, remind me of the groupies for Charles Manson. I think I was too young to know about that. Wesley says, Marsha sounds like Dr. Girlfriend from Venture Bros. Lyric the Gamer says, funny how people say a car is not a luxury, but when the gas, maintenance, insurance, and car note adds up, then what do you have to say? I live 10 minutes from my job. I ride a scooter and run it up. Most people, if you go to other countries, most people don't drive to work. They either catch public transportation or they have some other alternative mean, an electric scooter or something like that. J. Renard Leather Company says Ted Bundy's trial had these types. Really? Wasn't Ready Player number 2 Luigi gay? I don't know. All right, y'all, listen, it's been a great show. We at the 3-hour mark. I want y'all feedback inside of the chat on whether or not y'all want to do a 4-hour and if we want to push it up to 9 in order to accommodate and do so. All right. Relationship Wednesdays, we in the building. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm definitely going to see y'all tonight. Peace.